Thank you to everybody, Brankos, Wayne, for the campus program. Thank you to Real Trading, Trade the Pool, Benzinga Pro, every single Real Trading campus as we go. We can keep on going, Moo, etc. And thank you to Bears vs. Bulls. But most important right now is, first of all, Google is now 40 cents in the money and still going up. But you're tired of my voice. Let's go get tired of two more. It's Sharif and Adara on the midday lessons. Ciao.
They get tired of our voice real quick. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That in the lovely orange is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif. And we already have people weaseling their way on over. We got Darwin, the OG. We got Dr. Fez. All right. Pitchbull, what's up, my man? A proper dang paradox. TH, Jesse Gullock. Mateus Lane and Jeremy Newman. Let's flipping go and Mary S. Lyman. We got Stock Up. We got Tony Hawk. We got the OG Vic Yen, Novak, Big Bob Dub. We got Libation Farm, D. Omar, and the beautiful Gate. Where are you going? To New York, Dang Sense and Derek B. Fiddleback joining us as well as Stock Up. Trader 123 ABC. I think he's looking at fundamentals there, Dara, the ABCs. Think so,
yeah.
And we got,
be my guess.
Yeah, we got Barry yelling yo yo yo, as well as Bold Summer B, and Paul as well has joined us. So good morning to everybody. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, Adara.
Good morning, Sharif. How are you feeling today? I know you are a little bit
under the weather. I'm going to do my darn best, obviously, to stay energetic and take these trades, but I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. It looks like it wasn't allergies, sadly, so OB may have to step in, but I'm going to try to soldier through and get through the day. Hopefully we have some good trades, and we got a good lesson for you guys. Anything you want to shout out, Adara, before we get to the lesson du jour?
Yeah, so I have, we had a bit of a dark night of the soul yesterday. Y'all saw the trading yesterday. Guess you got shut down before the show started, this one. Anyways, so I did a lot of reflection after that. And it basically was like, just whatever, find ideas that make sense, focus on those ideas, all that jazz. Don't bog yourself down with too many stocks, yada, yada, yada. So one of the ideas I'd really been looking at excessively this morning was Microsoft. Microsoft, I liked that 437 area yesterday. We could drink off of it. Then we have this chop and turn consolidation. I was looking at this at the big desk. I liked that 432, and I'll show you why. 432, a little bit of a bottom yesterday as well, and then we curl back up. So I was like, okay, dope. 432 bottom, let's go. I go long 432.25, and that was honestly, A, I liked what it was doing in the book. B, we had a little bit of a pop earlier. I was aware VWAP could have been an issue, but I was like, you know what, Adara? Attempt the trade, see what occurs. I go to get my coffee. I have a little conversation with Brendan and Andre about my my coffee tea. Shout out to Ramin for getting me on that. And then I come back and I get stopped out. Basically, bottom wick. It's all good. I'm switching to short because the book to me looks like a short right now. I'm taking a smaller position than I took the first time. I'm risking, I already set my stop here, 432.60s, and that is A, it makes sense with, like I said, I'm trying to risk portions of risk. B, it also is where we had that VWAP projection. I have a feeling maybe this is still long, but I did like how it was looking as a book. It was pretty anemic. Couldn't even break back above 432.25 for the longest time. Let's see what happens. I'm willing to take this trade. And I like to always do my side chart roundup. So what is on my side chart? SMCI, CrowdStrike, SPY, Snap, Broadcom. What is this? IWM, Palantir, and Intel, addition to our Mag 7 friends. But also, you know what else, Sir Friend? Double top and double bottom when you're looking for some reversion plays.
We are. I just want to mention that there is umpteen amount of small cap gappers moving, two of which are halted right now. Neil was covering OMEX before we started. There is lots to trade in small cap world today. If you do not want to participate in the Mag 7 prior to the Fed rate decision, so we're going to get to those. But first, we're going to get to a little learning. Double tops and bottoms, baby, is the topic du jour. We're talking about these reversal patterns for the remainder of this week. Going into next week, we're going to try to get as nuanced as we can, or as the time will allow us here on the show, with each of these patterns, not just giving you a quick synopsis, but actually digging deep and looking at some of the stuff we haven't talked about in the past. Let's get right to it. So by the end of this lesson, we'd like to be able to understand double tops and double bottom patterns, how they have measuring potential for price targets, and the practical application of these patterns in everyday trading, intraday, as well as swing. So let's get right down to business as we typically do. We're going to introduce the topic from its most basic form. What is a dang double top and a dang double bottom? Here we go. Double tops and bottoms are what we call classic reversal patterns that essentially signal change in trend in the market direction. A double top is indicative of a market shift from bullish to bearish, while a double bottom signals the reversal from bearish to bullish, okay? The key features of these patterns: the double top has two peaks, crests, we call them on the show here, similar in height. Not a hard and fast rule. One can be higher than the other, but they are similar in height. Same thing for the double bottom. Two troughs, not crests, troughs. It's similar depth, separated by a moderate peak. I forgot to mention that moderate peak thing, or a moderate trough, excuse me, in the double top. So we'll get to what they look like in a second. Here they are, baby. You got the first top, and it comes into that key area of resistance. I love how this area over here, the neckline or the trough of the double top, ends up holding up at a key area of previous resistance, now flips to support. You gotta love that. But then we weasel our way right back into those highs, and the market says, no, you don't. And it sends us all the way back down. We whiffle and waffle at this area of previous support, now resistance, but that's as good as we could do, baby, because we go down, 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 down. Get it, Adara.
Microsoft's also going down, so it made me even happier to sing, but sorry. You're
Fantastic. Well, let everybody know, yeah. So let's talk about how to identify these double tops and double bottoms. Let's talk about the double bottom formation first and foremost. So the double top formation, excuse me. The double top pattern is formed when the price rises, as I alluded to that resistance level. It declines, comes back into that trough, then rises again to test that same or similar resistance level that it failed to break through on the first occasion, and this time it does again. So the pattern often forms after a significant uptrend. So just like what we talked about with head and shoulders, step one, what is the trend? Before we see a pattern, but we need to identify a trend. In a double top, you should be preceded by an uptrend. You shouldn't be seeing, well, if you do see a double top and a downtrend, it's likely not a double top, or it's gonna fail. Okay, so the pattern often forms after a significant uptrend, showing exhaustion and buying strength. But like the head and shoulders, we got a neckline in this pattern as well. So the neckline here is the horizontal support line at the trough between the two peaks. A break below that neckline confirms the pattern and signals to you a potential move downward and continue. This is what I'm talking about here. Double top 1A, and there's your B, there's the area trough, there's your second top C, and that line that goes through the area trough, that is your neckline. So you just extend that horizontally. Once you get a price break below that, that is your signal. Okay, so that is the move. So just like in a head and shoulders, we do have a neckline here as well, off which we base trades. And you're going to see in a second here that we're going to base our entries and our exits possibly off that neckline. Let's talk about the double bottom formation. Basically the same thing, but a little bit of a difference when it comes to volume. So the double bottom, essentially a mirror image of the double top. It occurs though after a downtrend. So it's incumbent upon you to look at the trend preceding the pattern. Okay, it occurs after a downtrend when the price tests a support level twice without breaking lower. Once the price breaks above the neckline, as I showed you, same look for the double bottom, the neckline just goes through the area crest. It indicates to you that the potential for a Newton uptrend is increasing and you could get a nice move forward. The volume though here, a little bit more important and in the double bottom as opposed to the double top. We alluded to this on Monday when we talked about the generalizations of reversal patterns. Tops tend to be way quicker in their formation and retracement than do bottoms. Bottoms can be much more prolonged, take a number of days, weeks on whatever time frame you're charting, even intraday as well, whereas tops seem to get that reversal just like that. It's not a hard and fast rule, but one that stats show is in fact accurate. So with respect to volume now, in a double top, volume typically decreases as the second peak forms and should increase as the neckline breaks. Same thing as we talked about with the right shoulder. So in the formation of the right shoulder yesterday, we said volume decreased, but there should be a marked increase on the break of the neckline. Same thing here. The right side of the double top, lower volume than the left side of the double top, with that increasing volume coming through the neckline break. So in a double bottom, Rising volume on the breakout above the neckline confirms the bullish trend. So just keep in mind that volume's super operative here. And here's the look. We're whiffling and waffling on the way down. Then for whatever reason, we seem to find some support at this area. Don't know why, don't care. We're going to draw that horizontal trend line at the neckline, which is the area crest in a double bottom. And then we're going to look, these are volume bars, by the way. We're going to look as the volume picks up as we break through that neckline resistance. That's what you should be looking for. A decrease of volume on the formation of the right side of the pattern, and then an increase in volume on the break of the neckline. Let's talk about the measuring technique, because we talked about it yesterday with respect to head and shoulders, calculating from the head to the neckline and then projecting that down or up, whether it's an inverse head and shoulders. Today we're going to talk about the double bottom or the double top and how it can project price. So the height of the pattern measured from the peaks in the double top or the troughs in a double bottom to the neckline, same thing as the head and shoulders, from the peaks or the troughs to the neckline, depending on whether you're top or bottom. This provides the basis for your price target. So remember the week we did the measured move? If you have a $5 range between the peak or the trough and the neckline, you're projecting that $5 forward. That's where you're looking to wet your beak. Same thing here. So the measured move acts as a guideline for setting these price targets. I love when people call me when I'm at work. For instance, if the distance between the peak and the neckline is $10 or $5, the expected move after the break should also be approximately $5 in the direction of the trend reversal. And this is what I'm talking about right here. You've got the double bottom, that's the line right there, and between the area crest and the support level at the double bottom, you have 170 pips. So once you break the neckline, you need to project 170 pips upwards, and that's where you're going to wet your beak. Not a hard and fast rule, but at least we've got something off which to work. Let's talk about the practical application, though, of this pattern. Entry points. How do you use the double top or double bottom to weasel yourself into trade? Here's what we're going to talk about. Traders typically enter a short position after a confirmed break of the neckline in a double top pattern, but traders typically will enter long after the neckline breaks in a double bottom. And so this is kind of what we're talking about here. We got the double bottom number 1, double bottom number 2. There's your breakout level, and that's where you're looking basically to enter. Now, this is the more conservative strategy, just like we talked about yesterday with the head and shoulders. You can wait for that right shoulder to form, then the price action to break below the neckline before getting in the trade. More aggressive traders are going to get in short on the formation of the right shoulder. They're going to see that crest having been made on the right shoulder. And then we're going to start making lower lows and lower highs. That's where more aggressive traders are going to weasel into the trade. They're not going to wait for the neckline. Same goes true for this as well. If you start seeing the possible formation of a double bottom, you can weasel into the trade. My suggestion to you be have your stop right below that right side of the right side trough. So if you get into here, you're going to have to place your stop here. It's up to you. What kind of trader are you? You want to be more conservative? You want to be more aggressive? There's no hard and fast rule. Let's talk about it for stop loss placement. How do we use the double top and bottom to influence our stop loss placement? So a stop should be placed above the second peak in a double top, but in a double bottom, a stop loss should be placed below the second trough in the double bottom, obviously to manage risk. And here's exactly what I'm talking about. So we got the double bottom over here. If you're going to enter more conservatively, you're waiting for that neckline break. But sadly, you're going to have to put your stop all the way down here, because why would you be putting it in here? What is here for you to find support at? We already know the support is here. It's proved it to you twice. So putting your stop anywhere in between the neckline and the area trough, to me, is a fool's game. All right, unless you're basically just, hey, let me buy a lottery ticket. Maybe it goes my way, and I'm not basing it on any technical analysis. It's up to you. Volume confirmation as well. Volume plays a crucial role in validating these patterns. I kind of made that very clear at the beginning. Traders should ensure that there is an increase in volume when the price breaks the neckline for a more reliable signal. And without volume confirmation, guys, really the breakout may not sustain, and you need to be on the lookout for bamboozlement. So if you do get that neckline break with no big boy volume, I would be suspicious. And just to kind of make that point even more clear, you have a bit of a skewed double bottom, and we made that clear. The troughs and the peaks do not have to be at the same level, but they need to be very similarly positioned. So you get a double bottom over here, and then you get that break above the neckline of the double bottom, and look at that surging volume, baby, on the break of the neckline. You need to see the volume, because you know there are sellers hanging out here. We've already proved that their sellers were hanging out here because we ascended there, rejected, and then reascended. So only way to break through that neckline is to overwhelm the seller or sellers who were hanging out there. That, by virtue of that, you have to have increased more volume. I have to have an increase of volume. Again, not a hard and fast rule, but some things that statisticians say happens more often than not. And to conclude, double tops and bottoms are reliable patterns used by traders to anticipate shifts in the trend direction, understanding, though, how to measure the potential price moves, as well as the importance of volume confirmation for providing foundation for successfully integrating these patterns into your trading strategy. As I always do, I hope everybody prints up multiple storms.
Yeah, we hope whether you're using double top, double bottom, or none of the above, we hope everybody is printing and pleased as punch. I would love to say we're printing here in Microsoft, and we have a little bit, but it's been a little slow to break to the downside. So Microsoft, to be clear, again, I initially was bullish on this because I liked that we were holding that 432.20s. I thought it was going to curl back up. Microsoft was like, I don't have to do that, though. And I was like, yeah, okay, Microsoft, cool. Respect you. Respect your choices. Neat. We got stopped out. I wasn't even here when I got stopped out. I just had the stop. It hit, all that jazz. And then I went short. So I want to switch to the 1 minute because I want to make it like clear where the entries and exits are in this, because I know it's a little, it's not messy. I think it's pretty clean, but it might be easier to just see if I show you guys this way. So I got short initially, 432.10s, was risking into 432.60s because that was, and I think that's a bit clearer in the 5 minute, that was definitely a bit of a local top. Then we added to the short once we broke below 432s decisively. I think it was like 431 mid-90s. Then I got out part of the position once you broke below that pretty heavy support resistance area at 431.75, added back in at 431, I think mid-80s here. Then we couldn't. I have no plans to add further, but I do have plans to take out some profit here at 431.50s. I initially had this at 431.40s, which I think is like the truer bottom, but we didn't break there, so I said to Dara, give it a bit of wiggle room, let it wiggle. Also, once I added, I switched my stop to prior bar highs. So right now, we are going to be getting stopped out if we break above 95s. I think that's fair. I know I'm not risking a lot from like a notional standpoint, but I think it makes sense with regards to the structure of the trade. I'm aware we could bounce here, but I'm cool with where I set my stop. I'm cool, happy I took some profit, cool with how the trade is being structured, so I'm going to let that work. And that's one thing, too, I've said, you know, I talk about this a lot. There were a couple weeks ago, we had Obi and Neil talking about how sometimes you need to fail at the first trade so you can see the second trade. I think to some extent, I've always found sometimes when you get the direction wrong or when you get your first entry point, it runs a little amok. I think it helps you because then you know decidedly in a really clear way what levels are going to be interesting, what levels aren't. So I think that's going to be key. We have a new prior bar high, so I'm changing my stop to 431.70. We'll do 80s. I have a feeling we're going to get stopped out almost immediately here, but let's see. I still want to go through the motions of making the trade appropriately, moving my stop to prior bar high. Let's go softy. Also Palantir, I think I definitely missed that opportunity, but Palantir looked like it was going to be a bull flag, then it did not bull flag. So to me, that was a red flag. On my red flag, I mean a flag to go short. And then I couldn't get in because I had already used a lot of my buying power on Microsoft, and it wasn't like a stop loss issue. It was just an issue of like you can't have that many shares at one time. So Palantir has fallen to a new Palantir without me. Ooh. But I would be interested, depending on what we do here at 36.50s. That to me is a pretty clear level on the 15-minute chart. Let's see how that's shaking. How are you shaking over here, Sharif?
I'm trying my hand at Amazon at the volume weighted average price. It's already breaching. It's wicking below. So we're going to see if we get stopped out over here. The market is coming into lows at 19,650. And if you're wondering what these random levels are that I'm yelling out, I am now talking about the December contract. I'm no longer charting off the September contract. contract as it expires this Friday, and the December contract is doing more volume anyway. And yes, volume is an issue here with Amazon, as that latest amount of volume just took me out of my position. But I still want to see whether or not we hold up here on Amazon at VWAP. It's been stronger-ish the last couple of days. And previously, to be honest with you, here earlier at around 10:10, we did breach VWAP on a wick basis only to close up a little bit high. But right now, it looks awfully weak, really breaching that volume weighted average price all the way down into 186 and a third. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. I'm also keeping my eye on Apple as it comes into that 20 exponential moving average. It's breached the 10 for the first time on the day, right at 10 after the hour over here. And now it's weaseling down into the quarter dollar. Way too many higher highs here on Apple for me to kind of see that discernible, area of resistance that we rejected off initially. The only area I'm really looking at is 220. And then right below that is 219.82, which is VWAP. I'm kind of looking at them as kind of the same level, the $10 level, the volume weighted average price. There's also this double top over here on a 5-minute basis that rejected off 220. So if we do get that 220 bounce, great. Otherwise, I'm not going to try to guess whether or not they're going to bounce off these moving averages or VWAP, because look at what Amazon just did. It just breached it. So I'm not going to try that. ARM coming in right now. I'm getting a notification that it's coming into VWAP, and I've been wanting to look at ARM. So I've got it up here on the side chart as a small cap gapper. It is not obviously a small cap gapper, but we're keeping it up on the side chart anyway. Now it's breaching VWAP, much like what Amazon just did, but it also did that prior. It did breach VWAP only to bounce off it. So ARM in a bit of a range today, after getting the nod from whatever rating agency, I forget who it was, 139.50 to the high side, essentially 140.68 to the downside. So if we can get a nice little bounce back up here, I will participate on this VWAP bounce on ARM, but it's got to prove to me, Adara, that it wants to hold up at those levels because it's still going down.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft actually, shockingly enough, I am joking, it's not shockingly, I was happy it happened, obviously. We get that break below 431.50. Now we're trying to make new day's lows here in MSFT. I am tempted to switch my stop at this point to prior bar highs in the 3-minute. As of right now, it's currently prior bar high on the 5-minute. And like I said, I'm still trying to work on exit rules. I think the way I have executed and managed both the initial long, which like I said, I wasn't even at my desk for. I set my stop. I let it do what it did. It executed. It was all good. And then this short here, the second attempt, I'm happy with the management. These are the only trades I've had so far today. This is the only stock I have traded, is that old soft one. I don't like how I word it. But let's see what happens here. We're gonna do prior bar. We're moving to prior bar high in the 3-minute just because as things get tighter, I don't want things to get away from me too much. So we're gonna move our stop to 431.66s with that in mind. Okay, so let's see what happens there. Let's see if we can push even lower here on Microsoft. As like I said, I think it looks like we're basically at low of days here on the soft one. Other stocks I'm looking at here include Palantir, which I think is maybe giving me an opportunity. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so I would like to see what Palantir does at VWAP. I'm not going to act till I see what it does at VWAP. Like I said, the area I really wanted was 3660. Wasn't able to get filled. It happens to everyone, I think. It's kind of universal feeling. You don't get filled. You miss your fill by like a penny, whatever. But Palantir certainly on watch for me. Tesla was not a stock that I wanted to be trading today. And that's not for any particular reason. You guys know I will trade Tesla almost, or someone could argue too much. But I really I said this to Sharif, I was making like an ungodly sound. I was like, because we were like ranging like crazy here, right? So I want to see what we do with 228. I think we could be having a range breakdown. And it's interesting too. The thing that makes me not want a range breakdown is, to me, this looks a bit more bullish each time. We get these wicks here, 227.80s. Wicks, slightly higher wicks here, 227.80s. One last time, 227.80s. But this topping tail candle here could be a little bit bearish. I'm going to be watching the book before I get involved in anything. We are still here in the soft one. We'll see if we get stopped out here on Microsoft, because it looks like we might be getting stopped out because we are getting near that prior bar high on the 3-minute candle. Also, because of FOMC, we're not doing the segment today, correct? The voting segment? Or?
No, I don't think we are.
Okay.
We're going to you guys early today? Yeah, we are. We're going to the big show early.
Nice. So at 1:45, this show will be over. At last, there will be no voting. But other days, usually you can vote for your tickers of choice, !, join, space, $, ticker in this chat. You guys know how you join the chat?
How?
If you like, or if you subscribe. Because if you don't subscribe, you cannot join the chat.
No.
If you like to be part of this awesome community, so I know I would. So I'm happy to be part of this every day, be a fly in the wall in the chat via the show. So yeah, definitely a great community here. Let us know how we're doing. Obviously, drop those comments, drop those chats. I am just watching this market, Sharif, and looking for some opportunities. Tesla, Tesla I'm happy with. How are you doing though? I see you're in 2 trades.
Yeah, I'm trying, Adair. We're going to try the levels that we like, and whatever happens, happens. That's the way it's going to be. So looking at Amazon at this area of previous support over here at 186.20, already got stopped out of this level. We're going to give this another try. In the money on ARM, not by that much, 10 pennies, whatever it is. Looking for this one to hold off. Kind of a similar look here at this 139.20. We had double bottom there. I don't want to call it a double bottom because we're doing a lesson on double bottoms and this doesn't qualify. So we had an area of support, I should say, at this 139.20, 139.25. So we're giving the old community college try, trying to weasel our way possibly back into that 50 penny area or the volume weighted average price. We'll see what we get, and we will not get upset. So 139-ish. Looking at that level, I just saw a big bump up there in Meta. Let's see if we got an equivalent bump on the Amazon. I sound like Obi. Why do I have 2 arm charts over here? Oh, that's why.
Because you have 2 arms.
Oh, I like that. All right, so Amazon trying to weasel its way back up. I will look to wet my beak in front of that 50 penny area, which also happens to be the volume weighted average price. So that could act as a technical area of resistance. So wetting my beak around there probably makes sense just to de-risk a little bit. So we'll pack our patience. All right. ARM nicely in the money now, a whole 15 pennies in the money. We won't print though until it weasels up a little bit higher. We're talking about taking it out in front of the $0.50, kind of the same look right now for ARM and Amazon with kind of the same trade, same looking, same area off which to wet my beak. Here we go, 48s now showing up on ARM, and there's the print, Adara. All right, so we get the print there, happy. Now we're very close to the print on the Zon. Let's go, Zon. We get the print on the Zon as well, Adara, so happy with these trades. Started off poorly, but now we're doing all right. So let's see if we can weasel up here nicely in the money on both of them. I do like a possible move back up on the NQ September contract into 19,675. That is the closing print from yesterday. I do anticipate that to be a little bit of resistance possibly here. This is what I'm looking at. We used that level, actually, this white line, as support earlier on in the pre-market and as well as the open, the implied balance open. We were wicking off it, zigging and zagging. We did obviously breach it eventually, but looking for this to do well. All right, nicely in the money on Amazon. Let's see what ARM is doing. Okay, all right. Well, where's the other area? I'm going to take it out in front of the whole dollar here on ARM. Let's weasel up possibly into the mid-70s. Let's hang out around here. Oh, God, I added to the position. I'm a moron, I got to tell you. So we're going to take out that because that's not what I want to do. So we'll get out that super quick. And I will now put my exit for the position that I want at around, the mid-70s. That's where I'm going to hang out. So we're going to hang out there and see what we get there. Let's see what Amazon is doing. Amazon, okay, the 10 exponential on Amazon is at 71. So I kind of like the same out for possibly Amazon in the high 60s, low 70s. Let's hang out over here in the high 60s. We're already printing high 50s. If we can weasel up a little bit more, we'll get that second print, but we're going to pack our patience. What are you doing?
Oh, me. I thought you were talking to the stock for a second.
No?
Yeah, so Microsoft stopped out. Happy with how I executed this trade. Happy I moved to 3-minute prior bar highs as well because Microsoft can be a little spready, a little bit of a wild one, so you want to trade that appropriately. Now, what are my plans for Microsoft right now? Honestly, I don't have any, but if we reclaim 432.25, somebody's going long, and that somebody is me. Now, why am I long biased in Microsoft? Honestly, I'm really not. I took shorts too, but for me, I think just the way we recovered off that 431.40, I watched this, I was in this short, I was also in the long earlier. I think that if we get that recovery, again, big if, huge if, ginormous caveat here, if we get above 432.20, to me, it's a long. In the meantime, I don't really have a plan in either way. I think we're trying to figure out a sense of direction, so I'm going to let it do that on its own, and I'll be there for it if it's ready for me. I will wait for it at the coffee shop in Paris. I'm being weird and dramatic. Tesla, what are you doing, bro? So Tesla, I got short, 228s. We basically immediately got stopped at 228.25s. However, I got stopped at instantly. Yeah, that would have been the level. To me, the way we were holding at 30s in the book, I was like, I don't know if I want to short this just for my purposes, right? For myself, for what I look for. Honestly, I'm tempted to get involved again, take smaller. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to take less size. I'm going to risk into 40s, and I'm still going to try to get short there to 27.99s. We're going to take less size on this, and we are going to short into, risk into, we got short. Oh, we got long. Okay, that was not what I wanted. So good times. We're going to get out of that right away.
Did that already.
Yeah, that was not the vibe. Good times. Fat Finger Nation over here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. We made a penny, Sharif. We made a penny. So flip that here.
Better
In the
than me.
meantime, I actually did want a short. So we're going to still get that short set up because that short that I want still exists. And we're risking said short into 228.40s because I want to give it a little bit more room to be wiggling. So we're going to get that stop set up there. That is going to be 228. We'll do 39s. And we're going to get ready to, that is super typoed. So we're going to get ready to rumble there. But yeah, no, I mean, it's honestly, like I said, stops have changed my life while trading. And it's also made me realize you can't be too reliant on them either. Because there are times where it's like, especially the spready stocks, I'll see stuff I don't like. Even yesterday in the sim, like I said, I know, like, and I hear about this a lot. I think it's valid. There is a difference, obviously, in the psychology of trading sim versus trading live. But I still like to take it just as seriously. And like in stocks like Meta, and thank you to Sheree for giving me some advice on setting stops in those kind of stocks. In stocks like Meta, you're going to definitely see like a whole different ball game when it comes to stops. You're going to get things run. Things are not going to get filled where you want it to, right? So I'm really still trying to learn this game. But in stocks that have a bit of a tighter spread, that move a bit more in a fluid, liquid way, like a Tesla, like a Microsoft, I've had some decent success with those. Let's see what happens there. Palantir is still one I like here. Yeah, Microsoft to me, I think, is maybe still flipping long. But like I said, I have to wait for that. Palantir, if we break below VWAP, I love this as a short. I still, like I said, initially loved the 36.60 short, but I was having fun with Microsoft, so you pick your fighter, you choose your battle, all that jazz. So I'm going to wait on that.
I don't know why.
Broadcom, I also kind of had eyes on here, but not enough to trade it. I like that 163 rejection. And then now it's kind of bouncing here off 162.60s. There's a lot of support in this market, Sharif. No matter how weak I think we are, the market thinks we are, it's like, but wait, we could be stronger still too. Like, just, don't get too excited, guys. Don't get too excited, shorts. Don't get too excited, longs either. But yeah, if we break decisively below the 75 level on Tesla, which is like been a little bit of bottom, I'm going to be adding to this position and then moving my stop accordingly. Let's see what shakes out here in that Cybertruck. I want to look at some stocks where people, forced breathing is tiring. He's saying, flip that hair. Yeah, I know my hair gets a little excited.
Yeah, that's your move.
I get excited in this market. Sometimes I do it kind of facetiously. Sometimes I do it seriously because the market is exciting me. But yeah, shout out to you there. Let's see what's happening. There's some requests here for Lunar. I actually had level on Lunar. I know I'm not the small cap extraordinaire. That is the man to my right.
I'm
but
not.
I still want to look at Lunar if I may. Lunar, a little messy to me. There's something here, a little bit of something. Clearly a bottom here at 785s. But honestly, like Sheree said, there are going to be days sometimes, you've said this a lot, where stocks don't respect VWAP, don't really respect levels. Lunar's sort of bouncing off VWAP earlier, but then when we got that lower high in that quadunk off the 850 level, and we got this basically, to be clear, at the open, we come lower, then we make like a huge pop to a new high, which is fine. But we kind of wick into VWAP. We don't have a steady bounce off VWAP. Now we make another lower high. Now we're kind of rejecting off VWAP. The point I'm trying to make is Lunar is not moving in a way that is super clear, super easy to read. If we reject off VWAP, and I mean that 850 level kind of interesting here too, but I would say just kind of wait and see what we do. If we hold the support at 785, obviously that would be dope because that was a huge support level earlier, but that's a big it, right? You want to trade what you're seeing at the moment. You don't want to be speculating on what could be happening. So with that in mind, I don't have a super clear read on LUNR as of right now. Tesla, still chopping. Tesla's still churning. Happy I took less size and gave it a little bit more wiggle room because I do think this short, if it comes to fruition, and again, you don't want to say ifs and buts because they're like candies and nuts, in that you can buy them at specialty shops, but also that, it means nothing, right, until you actually see what you want to see. I don't want to be predicting. I want to be participating, not anticipating. So with that in mind, I'm participating in this move. I'm happy with the amount of risk I've given it, just given how it's been moving earlier. And I am very willing to add if we break below 227.75. Shout out to Tyler ATX. Happy to hear that, you like the speaking speed. I speak fast because these markets move very quickly, so you got to keep up with those markets. Snap really strong here, and I want to pull up Snap because we've had that Lens event today. They had an event yesterday as well, so Snapchat certainly on watch here. 12 million shares traded. Just got a nice little volume spike. Higher highs, higher lows. SNAP snapping up here in a snap, but not one that I'm going to trade unless there's a hard level. Palantir bouncing a bit off VWAP, so that's interesting. Intel still in its downtrend, and Tesla looks like it wants to be stopping me out, which that's fun. Are you okay over here, Street? Oh, I can keep talking. Okay. So yeah, Tesla. Okay, lower high in Tesla. I like. I'm not adding into this against me. I'm only going to add to this if we are in Lamula. We're just going to see if we get stopped out. In the meantime, we're going to let this guy run. Someone earlier was asking me if I saw Apple as a short. Now, to be clear, I did like this kind of push lower here in Apple, specifically when I saw this support resistance flippity floppity here at 220.80, but I didn't get involved because I was like, Adara, you're trying to trade less stocks. Like, bleh. You know, you don't want to get involved in everything. I've only traded 2 tickers today. If Apple breaks below VWAP, you know what? I will short it. And I'll probably risk it into 220.40 to take similar size to what I did in the TSLA trade. So my thing with Apple is there's a clear top here, 221.60s, lower highs, lower lows. The only thing that scares me here, or that I at least, not scares, but that I find fascinating, and that's why I want to wait for the VWAP break. VWAP, it's not just VWAP, it's also 220. So that's confluence there. Shout out to Obi. You've got a whole dollar level. You have a VWAP level. You have a level that was some previous resistance, which we know can flip to support. So the balance of the evidence. The balance of the evidence for me right now is a little too much for me to get short. And case in point, we do get a little bit of a bouncy bounce here of 220 in Apple. But yeah, I think if Apple can decisively hold and then break below and then reject off of 220, it'd be a nice short. Tesla's still like being like, oh, Adara, I might stop you out. I might not. You'll find out. But yeah, if like I still believe, I said this earlier too, if we bounce off 228.30s,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I will flip long, but I want to wait to get stopped out first. I still believe this trade could materialize in a way that I like. So we're going to wait and see. The market really requires that you wait and see. That's one of my biggest issues with trading. I have not been waiting and seeing enough. I've been too active. So let's breathe. Let's stay in this trade until I have a reason to get out of said trade.
Thank you, Adara, for covering there. I just had some technical difficulties, and the Katina man was nice enough and to come over and help out. So thank you to him. All right, let's get to the small cap gappers du jour, baby. We haven't said anything about small cap gappers in this seat, so let's get right to it. Neil we're talking about this one right when the big boys closed out the show. OME dang X. Put some respect on this one's name. 228% up, 100% since the bell rang. We are knocking on the door of that $1.02 area. We're up, like I said, 230%. Let's give you the deets on this one. $33 million market cap after the latest PAMP, and it's traded 180 million shares on the day with a float of 19,600,000 shares. What does the short flow say? We'll shout out to Nos Boss and his boys there at Trade Ideas. It's a good amount here for the short float, 9 2/3%. This Trade Ideas, by the way, saying 15.5 million float. I'm seeing 19.6, whatever. It's about 10% or a little less than 10% of the float is shorted. Oh, baby. But look at this. This is what we call a big boy drop. We were trading around $5 with a top yesterday. This thing tanks. It looked like it halted there yesterday at 2 o'clock. Long halt, basically tanks all the way down to 50 pennies, and then it's reclaimed. It reclaimed $1 in the pre, but it did dip below $1 there right at the open. In any event, what's going on over there? The Katina man's reloaded Tesla. Basically, this has been putting in higher highs and higher lows. Initial respect for the 20, then started getting basically away from the 20, getting into that 10. So I'm less inclined to want to use any moving averages here because it doesn't look like exactly like it's really using them. So the algo that's trading this or whatever is not really basing it off that. At least that's my estimation. So we're going to look to get in on maybe, a bigger red candle or something like that. We'll keep an eye out on it. Say it again?
I think it might be a long because the market's at bottom.
The Katina man saying Tesla might be a long here because the market's at bottoms. Adara's taking that long, as you can see there. 228.31. We hope she prints out multiple storms there on TSLA. Shout out to the Katina man and Adara with their Tesla trades. OMEX just printed a new high a day, albeit by 1 penny, but it's showing you its propensity to be strong and continue in the direction of the trend. So we want to get involved possibly with this one. VEEA. This is a halter extraordinaire. Let's count how many halts here we got. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, an 11 for good measure. I'm unlikely to trade this, but I did want to point out that despite it halting to no end, it's still kind of putting in higher highs and higher lows. If you look at the area troughs, even when it opens down and basically tanks, look how it's putting incrementally higher lows. Okay, so despite the fact that it is halting to no end, the trend still intact. Whether you can, kind of take advantage of that, that's going to depend really on you. PRTG did a really nice, I should say, move up. This one was already moving in the pre-market when I got to my desk this morning at 7:20. This thing was already on the way down because guess what? It made its high, a pre-market high that is, at 5:15 a.m. and then basically sold off for the remainder of the pre-market. In fact, it did really nothing to start off the day from 9:30 till about 10:30. We were whiffling and waffling south of 15. Finally, that pre-market high at $21 or thereabouts got taken out right before we started the show at 10:55, but it is retracing now on the way down, looking to test 16, possibly VWAP. VWAP not that much farther south than 16, about 15 and a half. That's a Christmas tree retracement if I've ever seen one. I definitely want to participate in this one, but it's got to set up at the right level. So we'll see what it does at VWAP, whether it wants to put some respect on VWAP's name and curl back up. We shall see. We're not going to guess with this one. AAPL. Another beautiful one starting out its life 7 a.m. this morning, did a nice little move up in the pre, but this one was good enough to continue after the bell. The issue with this one is it's now breaking down below the volume weighted average price. But what I do like about this one, exactly where it is right now, is it's at the pre-market high. How many times have you heard me say I'm not going to take a small cap gapper long unless it's above its pre-market high? Well, this one is looking to test that pre-market high as support. So we're going to look at this one a little bit more thoroughly. APLT, let me give you the deets on this one. All right, catch my breath here. This is not a small cap gapper, kind of maybe. It's a little bit south of $1 billion market cap, about 860 billion. It's traded about 38.1 million shares on the day, and it has a float of larger, about 107,500 shares. Let's find out what the short float is, APLT. And it's got a decent short float, 10.5%. So good amount there that we can work with. APLT in a good position here, guys. I might get in and then basically give it to 7.25. It's a good look right now. I'm happy I'm out of ARM because that one broke below VWAP. VVOS also on watch, BBLG as well as Lunar. But I want to get to OMEX, which is just printing more new highs. Adara, this thing is on the way up, as well as APLT. I want to keep an eye on both those. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so Tesla, we're long, and I want to clarify, I said if we bounce off, and I said this earlier too, like before my second short, I said if we bounce off 30s, I'm interested in the long. Nothing I've seen since getting involved here has dissuaded me from that. We bounced off 228s. I was like, dope, because I mean, I know what we were doing because I saw while I was in the short, we were getting like into 227.70. So I was like, if we're bouncing off 228s, I am pleased as punch with that. I have a very small position here because, it's actually larger than the second short. But I felt better about this long than I did about the second short, and I was able to risk that appropriately. But basically, I want to take some out at 229s, whole dollar levels in Tesla. No. But I'm also interested in adding, if we're able to eclipse, that 228.60s area. Why? There's some top and turn around there. It's near VWAP. I want to wait and see what we do at that level, but I do want to be able to add into this trade because I think there could be some more fun to be had. Apple, I got short. Now, I'm going to set my stop for Apple here right now. But the reason I liked the app, okay, I already almost fat-fingered that, so good thing I proofread. Always proofread your stops. That is the Adara LePage, what am I trying to say? That is the Adara LePage lesson always of the day. You know, shout out to Neil's lesson of the day, which is awesome and very informative and insightful, as Sharif always says. There's also the Adara lesson, which is just like, proofread your stops, proofread your trades, no typo trades over here. And I say that because I've had quite a few. So you always want to be careful of that. But basically, I said I would like, and Apple, I know I initially was like, oh, I don't want to short it because I have other stocks I'm looking at. But that Apple 220.80 level, this is like a hard support resistance flip. I should have gotten short there. And as I said, I was considering it, but I was like, don't look at so many stocks. Yeah, Adara, Apple's breaking below VWAP now. I waited till I saw us break below 90s because 91 was that previous resistance area. It was also near VWAP. So I said, if we break below 80s, get involved. I'm risking into 220.15s, kind of some of these, near these areas where we had those wicks. Basically, I want to let it really see if it can thrive beyond 220. If we can't thrive beyond 220, then cool, I want to stay in that trade. But that's why I'm not risking right into 220 because sometimes you can get bamboozlement. Tesla chilling, Tesla vibing. I am not moving my stop on Tesla. It is still just below 228 for the same reason I have my stop on Apple. With these Meg 7s, they can give you a lot of fake breakouts or breakdowns, so you want to give them a skosh room to run. Now, you might ask, Adara, why are you shorting one Meg 7 name along the other? This is usually not something I like doing, but like I said, Tesla is kind of the problem child of the Meg 7. Tesla's like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, Mom. I don't need to bring my cell phone. I don't have to text you when I'm coming home. Like, ugh. So Tesla tends to run on its own, and it often moves in ways that are kind of antithetical to what you're seeing with the rest of the Meg 7. Or the market in general. Case in point, TSLA holding decent support here. The Qs making new lows of day. So Tesla, to be clear, could always, we just got stopped out. So clearly Tesla did move from that pattern, but we got stopped out and we bounced right back up. So I'm going to stay away from Tesla for now. I think that clearly my rating, it's not that good, but hey, you know what? Every cloud has a silver lining. And that silver lining actually might be a space gray lining. Shout out to that Apple MacBook color because we get a bit of a move down here for my Apple one and then we bounce right back up. If we're able to break below, I don't want to add like too much in the money here, but I want to see what we do here below 219.40s. That was a bit of a chop turn area. If we can continue below that area, I do want to add to this position. I have a decent amount of size, but not as much as I would ideally like. Meta was another, I like the idea of a Meta short at 535.50s, and the reason I didn't take it is because I wasn't seeing anything at the time that was moving in a way I wanted it to, so I didn't get involved. But Meta's still breaking lower here. AAPL, a good look. Palantir below VWAP. Okay. Hi, Palantir. I see you. Sorry, girl. I forgot about you. No, I didn't. I'm still here. I care. But yeah, Palantir's honestly not as weak as I would necessarily like it to be. You know what? I like 50s on the book. We're going to take a really small position here. We're going to risk into 51s. We're going to try to get short 42s. Let's see what gets crack-a-lack in here on PLTR. Should we have the buying power for this? Okay, sweet, we do. Getting short 42s, risking into 51s. Let's see. Okay, we're going to set our stop there. PLTR 36.51s. Let's go. So let's see what happens there. That basically 51, to be clear, is a bit of that support resistance level earlier that we also wicked into. Shout out to C Battle saying like and subscribe. Yeah, guys, definitely feel free to like and subscribe if you are enjoying this content because we want to be able to give you cool things every single day. This market is so fascinating. We got Papa today, guys. Like, what is there not to talk about? So if you want to be here with a great community, giving you some ideas, bouncing ideas off each other, definitely join us. Also, Tesla now bouncing up to 28K. Like I said, my read on Tesla is clearly compromised, so I'm going to let that thing do its thing. 21, Apple to the downside. Palantir basically flat, but we can give it time. We just got into the trade. But also, yeah, we're going to thank our friends at Benzinga soon. In the meantime, what are you doing over here with your portage?
I'm in portage at 37. Where am I at? Or 37s. Looking at wetting my beaks at the 70s. Here we go with the 60s, where some selling coming in at the 60s. We're nicely in the money here, but this bottom can drop off at any time as it just did. So I'm very alive to that. It's at VWAP, which got me into the trade. Let's see if this one holds up. I had to, this is coming down. It's going to test 15. Here we go. So we just got stopped out of that. Dang, man, this one just keeps moving like, well, it's moving aggressively. That's all I got to say about that. So we got stopped out of that one. Sucks to be me. Let's look at the other trade that we're in. We're in APLT at 760. I'm going to keep my eye on this one, looking at wetting my beak in the mid-70s. What's good over there, Katina, man? Let's see it.
We're just going to be getting out now of the past. We just went short off average for 3 times. Money now 70 cents.
The Katina man's 70 cents in the money on this position. He's bidding 60s right now. He's looking at shorting and basically getting it. Yeah, he's basically shorting the top there. Is that red? That's a 50, right? That's the 50 moving average on his chart right there. Shout out to the Katina man. Hey, say it again. Just he's scalping. Well, yeah, you can see that. He's playing the range. Shout out to the Katina man. He's printing. So we're going to keep an eye out on him. And if you want to know what Sean and Neil are trading midday, there is an entire channel for that. It's called More Trader TV, baby. And they got all their positions there. Neil's long on Apple and Starbucks, short Donald John Trump. The Katina man's printing up storms on Tesla there on the range trade. You can see all their entries, all their exits. I love how Neil's been trading OMEX. We got to get on that boat as well, as that's been parabolic. So we're going to keep an eye out on that one. But you know what we got to do, Adara? We got to pay bills around this place because, you know, the lights and all the lights that are flashing in our face right now, Adara, they ain't free. They cost money. So are you tired of being late to the trade? Are you always playing catch up in this market, Fabian? Missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Well, Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get your breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else and pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving, and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Are you ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? If you are, visit benzinga.com/pro and get yourself that free 14-day trial. Shout out to the good folks there at Benzinga. And I want to also shout out the spiled one, Big Spile Burdette Sharif, $10 super chat. Thank you first and foremost for that, Big Kyle. Remember, we are risk managers. Preserve the capital, both mental and in the accounts. If trends develop today, you will have plenty of time to take advantage of them. Sharif sent you the info. Wiser words were never spoken. Maybe they were, who knows. But thank you very much for that wisdom, Big Spile Burdette. I think you're bang on with that. And we will be getting that interest rate decision in now less than 3 hours. So very excited for that. It is 11:50, obviously about 2 hours and 10 minutes. And we're going to find out exactly, are we cutting 25 bips? Are we cutting 50 bips? And if we do cut 50 bips, does that spook the market? That's really the question right now. So many people wondering what the Fed's going to do. What it would be to be a fly on the wall.
Right? I'd love to be like... Yeah, shout out to Kyle Burdette for that super chat. It's interesting too. I mentioned this on the segment at 10:50 Money Talks. There's a lot of noise now that we're actually more likely to get a 25 basis point cut than not. Former St. Louis Fed president there, Bullard, saying that it's really unlikely to get a 50 basis point cut. Sorry, and then you actually Wells Fargo analysts calling talks about that 50 basis point cut, quote, noise. So that's pretty interesting here, too. You know what else is that I'm trying to block out as noise? The fact that Microsoft dipped way further after I got out of that short. No, I'm joking. It's all good. This might be shocking given that I am in two shorts, and they're both like, I mean, I'm flat in one, I'm in the money on the other. But I am actually looking for some reversion longs here. We got to push back for that. And my target for reversion long is, drum roll, please. And I say that really, it's Microsoft. I can't believe I'm saying that. But you know what? Why do I like this Microsoft long? You may ask. The book is getting really nice and tight here. Sorry, guys, it's hard to talk about spread without making it sound a little bit accidentally vulgar, but the spread is getting nice and tighter. I have been watching the book. I like how we're having this bid creep here on MSFT. And you know what? You know what, Sharif?
Unbelievable. Yes.
I'm actually going to get involved in this trade. We are going to get long 431s. We're going to risk into, let's see if we have the buying power for this. I don't know if we do. But we're going to get long 431s, and we're going to be risking it into 430.75. Yeah, we did not have the buying power for that. That's fine. We're going to wait and see if some other trades clear up. I would like to take this MSFT because I feel really good about this long. Maybe I can take a smaller position. Let's see. But yeah, you have to take trades you feel good about. I like reversion trades. I've watched how this book moves. This book is moving in a way that I find to be pretty spicy. And I don't like spice in my food. This has been addressed many times here on the show. But I do love it in this market. So I'm going to want to take advantage of that spicy spice. And we still don't have enough buying power for that. Cool. So Apple, hey, Apple, make up your mind then. Because it's like, if you're going to be boring, I'm going to ditch the dead one. I'm going to go hang out with my friend MSFT, which is giving me more opportunities. It's a little bit unfortunate when you see a trade set up beautifully and then you just aren't able to get involved for reasons that are, but whatever. It's all good there, baby. Do not dwell on the negative. Stay positive. Stay confident. Stay confident. The other reversion long I like is TSLA. Like I said, I still like the idea of Tesla holding that 228.30. And yeah, I know my whole reversion long thesis is a little bit, sullied by the fact that I am short two names right now, but both of those names still within my purview for a short. Apple below the 90 MA, below VWAP and below 220, though I do not love that bottoming tail candle, but I don't want to move my stop because I don't have any reason to at this point. PLTR still chopping to the downside. Actually, PLTR is doing really well. You know what, Sharif?
Yes.
You're going to ride the horse that we're currently on. Clip, clop, clip, clop. If I'm in these trades and these trades are working, why am I trying to leave? Just because I'm bored? Just because Microsoft is batting her eyelashes at me?
Oh.
Lots of stocks bat your eyelashes at you every single day. We've got a lot of things in this market, but you have to trade what's working, what you're involved in. So I'm going to add to the short if we break below 36 as I say that because A, we're really having some attempts to break below there. It was a bit of a flippity-floppity level earlier. So if we break below 36s, I want some more shares and I want some more smoke. Shout out to OMAX because OMAX would have a lot of traders saying, oh boy. Shout out to Obi, who we know that is his catchphrase there. But yeah, OMAX, wow, OMAX. Look at this you know, higher highs, higher lows, a little bit of chop, a little bit of trend, a little bit of flagpole action here. This one up a cool 260%. It is small cap season. Also, I honestly, your Apple long, as someone who's short Apple, I think your long looks way better.
Oh, I didn't even look at the fact that you were short. Well, I'm not going to apologize.
Don't apologize.
But yeah.
I actually think this is going to work out better for you. And hey, if I get out of this, I can get long Microsoft. So we're all going to do what's works for you. But yeah, I want to hear about your Apple trade because that actually looks really
Well,
good.
I'm just looking at for rounding off VWAP. I could be wrong on this, so we're gonna pack our patience and see on this one. It did find I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it finds support at the volume-weighted average price. The other trade that I'm in that I'm actually considering adding to at this level is APLT. It's been consolidating sideways to no end at 7.5. So I want to see if this area wants to hold as a level of support. It does have a whole bunch of support at this level, 750, going all the way into the earlier time of day at around 10 a.m. So if this area wants to hold, I think we could possibly do a VWAP hold here on APLT and possibly head to the high side. 841 is the high day. We're printing 755, so there's a good amount of room possibly to weasel up into those highs. I'm looking at wetting my beak in the mid-70s. We shall pack our patience there. Apple is coming down though, so if it does drop below that 219.60, that's where I'm going to get out. It has a bottoming tail right into that 219.50. The future just wicked off 19.6. I'm anticipating a bit of a range on the future, but we are at the lows. Well, I shouldn't say at the lows. We are at a 100-point level. We just printed the low at 19,586. So we'll see if the bleeding wants to continue on to the future. I didn't think we were going to sell off aggressively. I thought we would whiffle and waffle, stay within the range. We'll see. We'll pack our patience to see if we do stay in said range. Let's look at some large caps, obviously other than Apple, because I'm involved in that one at the moment. Tesla, very rangy, and that's why the Katina man was scalping this one to no end. Look at this range that has been put. He's bidding 227, and he's going to do the walk and talk. So shout out to him. Enjoy your time there, buddy. Get some nice R&R. Nice mental capital refresh there. 228.5 seems where Tesla is rejecting off, but it is finding support, at least on a closing basis, maybe not a wick basis, right at that 227.90, 89, whatever. That's actually yesterday's closing print. So Tesla is stock within a range, and it's had a lot of respect for whatever reason at this 227.90, even though we did wick below it in the IB low and also at 1020. And again, we keep finding generally support there. And then for whatever reason, we're also finding resistance at pivot points. And we haven't been using pivots in a hot minute. So we'll keep tabs on that. It looks like Apple is dropping, though, aggressively below my area for break 60. I'm Gonzino. Looks like you had that one right, Adara. She'll listen to you on that one.
Oh, I don't know about that. Thank you for that. But yeah, so Apple right now, I'm still in. Did I set my? I did set a stop here on Palantir. I just wanted to make sure I had a stop. I'm gonna have to move that stop on Palantir because we added to this position. So basically, I want to talk about why. I know I said I initially wanted 36. Wasn't able to get involved at 36 is where I wanted to, at least for an ad. So I was like, you know what, Adara? We're going to do this 36, 45s. I'm basically using prior, like I said, my general strategy when I add to a position is to move my stop to prior bar highs, especially if I can risk the same amount that I was already risking in terms of percentage of my risk. That's what I'm doing here in PLTR. We did add to the position less than I initially was planning to add at 36, 35, but we added some at 31s. We're going to take out the first piece here at 36.25. Should we get there? That's about a fifth of the total position after adding. AAPL gave me the first beak wetter. Also,
nice. I got stopped out.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. And to be clear, I want to echo as well. I like your level there for 60s because that was where I got out part of the position because I knew that was going to be a bit of a level. And honestly, I feel kind of weird being in this position still because I told you guys I didn't even feel that confident, and I was like, oh, Apple, whatever. This is boring. I want to go to Microsoft. But I didn't get stopped out. I had never reason to leave, so I stayed in it. And yeah, I thought your long off VWAP looked dope. I said that too. So it's like, the markets will be interesting. The markets will test your patience, your sanity, and all that fun stuff. And you just got to figure out what levels work for you and what makes sense. Also, I am moving my stop on AAPL to prior bar high, which is going to be 83s. So 219. 83s. I need to find a way to automate my, and I mentioned this yesterday too, I need to find a way to automate my system in terms of when I move my stops when I'm using prior bar highs, especially like if I'm in the lesson and I'm like, oh, things are making new candles, and I'm like, ooh, you know what I mean? So I need to find a way to automate the system. As of right now, though, that's the system that works pretty actively managing these positions. So AAPL. Let's see if we can, that apple can fall a little bit further off the tree. Shout out to Isaac Newton and gravity, which came from an apple falling off it. What? Okay, so let's see if Apple gets some gravity to the downside. I was a little bit too proud of that admittedly nerdy and kind of basic pun, but let's see what happens there. If Apple rejects, we're going to do, I'm willing to add if we reject off like 77s here, but I also still think, I want to shout out Sharif for calling it the 1960s area. I think we're still forming a base here. I don't really know if I want much of that smoke. PLTR, chill in here. Palantir, I'd like to see us get another tier lower here. Let's see if we can get that fill. Again, we're going to take out I believe I said here 50%, no, sorry, 10%, a fifth of the position. Sorry, 20%, a fifth of the position at 36.25. Adara, math, speaking, you got this. Let's go, girl. Shout out Gravity, says Rivian Millionaire. Yeah, indeed, you got to shout out Gravity there. I guess if you're long, you don't want to shout out Gravity. But you know what? Speaking of longs here, you know what is weirdly still working?
What?
Is MSFT as a long. And I didn't get long this because I was like, ew, Apple. But you know what we're out of now, Sharif?
What?
Apple.
Okay.
So we are going to try to get a bit of a stank bid here on the on this guy. Let's see how many shares we can get on this. Because I like the 431.01. Yeah, okay, we're not able to get that many shares. That's fine. Let's try a smaller position, perhaps. At 431.01s, if we can get filled perfect. So we're going to risk this here into 431. Sorry, not 431. That would make no sense. We're going to risk this into 431. If like just below 60s, we'll do 59s because that to me is a level that makes sense. We're going to do 431, or sorry, 431, no, 430, 59s, F6. Real life stops, Sharif, in real time. How are your trades going here in your little small cap gappers? They look spicy. Omax certainly is.
Not bad. I just took about 20 pennies right now on APLT. Did weasel up into about 85s. I'm still holding a piece. Want to see if this one can get into a round 8. It's a good look for this one. I did not add to this one. I wanted to add. I didn't add it into at the around 7.5. I love the base that it formed. Let's see if it can continue to weasel its way up. OMEX, we got a very small position to start. We're at high, so I had to account for that. We're looking at defending 70 and then ultimately looking to DC. These are all planned DCAs right back into a 155. There's an area crest over here off which I'd like to play. I also like that 170 area because we've been whiffling and waffling around there for a hot minute. So I'd like to see what that one does as well. So OMEX at highs. What a monster. This one up 250%. Still above the 10 exponential on the 5. So it's doing its most, or doing its darndest to, I guess, continue the trend. 3 red candles in a row now on the 5 as I look to the side chart over here, but yet still above the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. There is only the 10 exponentials at 165. There's really no other support levels between that 170 area from which I'm looking to get in at. And then I would say 155, 150 to 155. Because it's really depending on whether you want to base it on the area crest or sorry, the area wick or the closing print. So 3 red candles in a row right now, kind of not topping tail, but sort of with equidistant tops and bottoms on OMEX on the 5-minute. We'll look to see if we can get that print at around 70, but I am looking planning dollar cost average on this one, light position to start. There we go. We got the print on 71. Let's go back to APLT now. We're about almost 30 pennies in the money on this one. So let's see if we can weasel up a little bit more. APLT, let's put some respect on this one's name, 67%, but it's had a lot of trouble breaking through the range as we see it every day at 780, guys. This area has been whiffling and waffling in and around that area. So I'd like to see if we can weasel up a little bit. PRTG, I took this off my screen because I kept getting stopped out on it, but it is now curling right back up into 16. I don't even want to put it up on the screen because I don't want to be tempted to trade it. So I know, right?
I've had sometimes you have tickers like that.
Right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put our out at 88s on APLT, which should, kind of front run a little bit of that $8 possible resistance here. So if we can weasel up a little bit more on APLT, that would just be aces. All right, so we're still at above 70 right now on OMEX. I got the print there. I'm keeping my eye on that 10 exponential. My beak wetter's already hanging out exactly where I wanted. 88s. The high of the day is 86. That's obviously risky in and of itself. Putting your beak wetter, your first profit taker, ahead of the high of day. I get that, but this thing's up 250%. So we shall see what we shall see, a meaningless tautology to send you off to Neil's lesson of the day.
Ooh, thank you very much. The lesson of the day brought to you by Sharif's Vocabulary, but also, of course, as always, by our good friends over at Moomoo. And obviously today, the lesson has got to be something about these moving markets and these rates, because it's a Fed day today. And when you have a Fed day where we're going to get rate cuts, they're not on the horizon. They are happening today. This market's about to shift. So just look at that NVIDIA move to the downside here today, but from the highs, it'll be down to 33%, 35% one moment, then we're bouncing the next. To protect your gains, you need Moomoo's trailing stop orders. Now, along with the NASDAQ, Moomoo is your top investing app. Unlike typical stop orders, ours move up as the stock rises, locking in profits before a drop. And it works for options too. Plus, enjoy zero commissions, zero contract fees, 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, and 15 free stocks. Don't miss out. Check the link in the description or scan the QR code below. Rate hikes, rate cuts, the Fed always going to move the markets, but something is different about today. It's not just that we have a rate decision today, it's that we have a contested rate decision today. It's not 100% or 99.9% or 98% what we're expecting to see at 2 o'clock. And when that is the case, we have a different dichotomy going into the afternoon. It's not, we're caring about 2 o'clock instead of 2:30, or maybe we're caring about both. But when you look at the morning session and how you're able to navigate it, I think you've got to be very, very cautious in your approach, because we were expecting a bit of an inside morning. If you end up trending, you can always join the trend. But if you look at what this NASDAQ did, like, we had a big wide range going into it just to set the stage. Since we flipped over contracts, you've had 3 days of not even a couple hundred points worth of moves in the NASDAQ, and each day just a little bit less. At the open today, this is the range. Like, this little sliver is the range, 1967 to 19.738 or whatever it is. It's not even 100 points, everybody. And when that is the case, it's very important knowing that you could break in either direction. You can hold that and rinse people in and out multiple times and then break out one way or another. You don't want to get caught buying tops, or sometimes if it had broken the other direction, caught shorting at the bottom. You've got to find the right names and be ultra disciplined. And what I mean by that, and you've probably seen me, if I like a stock and it starts working, I start looking for the continuation play, buying VWAP and all that good stuff. I'm going to give you an example of what was different here. Alphabet, the play for Google, they had decent news. I mean, it was a decent story with them getting getting that fine annulled, I guess is the word they're using, with the EU. And it was gapped up. It was looking strong, but I was anticipating a potential dip, and we looked into previous close. Now, oftentimes, if you dip into the level that I want and it works, the next thing I'm thinking about is, okay, baby, we're going higher. Let's get in at VWAP. Let's go. It did it once. The second time through, I backed off. Because when it was range bound and the market started not breaking, like, oh, well, if you like a price, let's only trade it there. Because this is the kind of day, if we're expecting an inside day, then why am I expecting the extended move all the way up to the top if the market's not doing anything crazy? On a day like today, just wait for it to show you your level again. And then it did. And into VWAP, a lower high, get out again. So take a smaller win the second time through, but only engage at one price. I gave it one more chance at the wick bottom for a small trade, but really it's just about holding the line in a lot of ways. And then being able to say, well, if you're going to take a shot something long, we looked over at Apple, and we're sort of able to understand that what was something doing a little bit different. And Apple was the only stock that was breakout and continuation. I mean, there were stocks that were breaking down and continued the downside. It was the only stock that was a breakout continuation play. So that was worth it to take that shot. It was doing something distinctly different. And that's what you want to look for in a day like today. If you, on a Fed day, especially one where we're going to get an undecided size of a rate hike, if you end up taking less trades, I think it's probably a good thing. If you end up in fewer stocks, I think that's probably a good thing as well in a general sense. there wasn't a million different opportunities out there where you get something flying. And look at Apple, it's actually bouncing off of VWAP rather nicely in here. You had to be ultra patient. And just to take it one step further, there was one step further to give you another idea out there. Here's an example, SMCI, of what I mean where you don't want to get tripped up or trapped. When the market wasn't breaking out, once the opening range set in for the first half an hour, so this is your up move in SMCI. Now, you saw Apple was able to settle that one down and take out the top. Okay, so it's doing something different. You go long. Once the opening range was done, SMCI was equally strong, but remember the cautionary tale. On a day like today, be careful if it's not continuing its move, it goes into resistance and kind of trips up a little bit. Now you can see a little better. It goes into resistance, trips up a little bit. Be very, very careful. If the longs were down in the 40s, don't just assume that VWAP is going to be good. Once the opening range was set, VWAP was the turning point, if anything else. And suddenly it turned into a weak name. Now that's most days, this would be let's go for the VWAP long guaranteed. It's a strong stock, it's double dipping VWAP, but not on a day like today. Today's the kind of day where if the long was here early in the 40s, then you want to try that and wait for it again. Be very particular about your trading. Be very particular about your levels because you're expecting on an inside type day. Now, obviously, eventually the market broke down, but an inside type day, you want to trade only those key price levels sometimes and then sit out all of the other nonsense. The other thing you can do is maybe go into some high flyer names like OMEX is moving around. I think that's doing a good volume where you can be a little bit more active if that's your cup of tea. But be very, very careful chasing moves on things like SMCI. I mean, I can give you a third one just because I happen to be looking at it, and it's a name that I'm pretty sure nobody looked at. Carnival had a move, so CCL. Now, we don't talk, I can't remember the last time I even looked at CCL, but it's a perfect example, again, of a stock that was in the midst of a breakout. If you look at the opening range at 10 o'clock, it dipped into VWAP. It immediately lost VWAP. Again, a continuation through VWAP type trade on a strong stock at 10, usually a good idea. On the Fed day, it can't hold on. Now remember, Apple broke out the top. That's what made it good. SMCI did not. It lost VWAP. It was not a buy there the first time. What did you have to do with CCL? Well, you had to wait for it to retest another key level. So it doesn't quite get to the prior day lows, or prior day highs, I should say, for those lows, but that's about as close of a dip buy as you're going to get. That's what you're playing off of. First pullback at the open was into 1825. Second pullback in the opening range was 25s. Third time, it probably rinses some people out, but it's your only shot at a long. It's traveling all the way back to the original level, which was the bottom in the first move. And that's what you had to do. If you wanted to grab the bottom and reload in SMCI, you had to wait absolutely to where it was at 935. With CCL, you had to do the same thing. There was no VWAP retracement trade. With Google, you had to wait for the absolute bottom again. And this is the level of patience required on a day like today, where you're expecting everyone not to know what's going to happen. And so therefore, you might get more of a range-bound and whippy day. And when that's the case, you've got to be extra patient, extra diligence. If you've got a good level, sometimes it's better to trade that level than just try to join into the trend aggressively. Do that maybe in a small cap. But on this type of a Fed day, you want to sit back, relax, make a few less trades, wait for those perfect price areas. When they get in there, then put the trade on. And this was a perfect example where you had multiple runners that were showing relative strength, and the ones that topped out at 10 o'clock in the opening range and couldn't break the highs, those weren't even good at VWAP. You had to wait all the way back into the bottom. The one that did, Apple, gave you your continuation. That's what's distinctly different today. Your lesson of the day on a Fed day, we have a contested rate decision. Extra patience required.
Thank you very much, Neil. Informative, eloquent, and just awesome as always. Neil Roberts, baby, dropping the hot lines. We call him the hotline dropper, not for no reason, because he does drop hotlines. So if you like what you hear, if you like what you just heard, I should say, join us every day around that noon hour. Neil's lesson of the day, always around that time. Thank you again, Neil. All right, in 3 trades at the moment over here, OMEX, still trading this one because it's above the 10 exponential on the 5 ram. I do like this one. Well in the money here on APLT as it works its way possibly into that 788 where I'm been waiting for a long time. We were long 52s. We're packing our patience. We're printing nicely on Apple finally. We're long 14s. Now it's breaking through 40s. So just wet my beak there. Quickly looking at for this one to move up. The market is on the way up. I saw Dan, the dang man, Emmons, getting pumped up there in the chat, baby. I'm assuming, Dan, you're long, because I don't think you'd be celebrating if the market was on the way up and you were short. So that is a nice move up there off 19.6. I anticipated for us to be a little bit range bound, and so far, so good there. All right, back to OMEX, because this is my largest position far and away. 3 adds onto this one. It's going to have to hold this 10 exponential on the 5. Let me show you what I'm looking at. This is what I'm looking at over here. It comes into that 10 exponential, puts in a doge candle, and then wants to curl back up, but the bamboozlement is real fast and furious on these small cap gappers. Get ready for flushes both ways, especially because I've been watching this, and the seller, whoever's selling or sellers, they've been moving down incrementally. Initially, they were at 75 pennies, and now they've moved down to 73. It's kind of like a wall of selling, so to speak, right? Overwhelming buyers on each successive lower high. So I'm going to pack my patience on this one. This was a planned dollar cost average trade, but if it doesn't manifest in the way that I anticipate, I have to be alive enough to get the hell out of there. All right, Apple is on the dang way up, and it just broke through 55s. Now I'm looking at 60s, and I'm going to hold on a little bit. Thank you, Adara. We lost on it, so we're trying to make some money back over here. Well, initially, you know that I got stopped out.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm waiting for that 75 penny area. There was this area of resistance. Yeah, you guessed it. At 75, it wasn't the longest lasting area, but 11.30 or so printed that. So we'll see if this future wants to continue up, and we shall print on that. So I'm waiting for the last peak wetter on APLT in front of 790. We're waiting at 88s. We're getting 79 prints. We got almost the print. It weaseled up to 86, and then it sold off. So this is what's going on. What are you doing? All right, this is the level over here I want to get out at, so I'm going to pack my patience there. 75s just showed up again on OMEX, and yet again, we had another little rejection. So we're going to keep watching to see if that bigger seller, I think, is moving down with the price of there.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft here pretty splendidly. I got long 431. I knew a little bit counter trend. I knew it was a bit reversion-y, but I liked what I saw in the book. And this is, I talked about this earlier. I really, really like, and you know, Sharif, shout out to Sharif, saying that Sean and I like to not let stocks off the hook. I've tried to be getting better. I've tried to get better at that again, because I know I used to do that a lot more, and then I got distracted by all the tickers, got a little lost in the sauce there. Shout out to Obi. But then I was like, you know what, focus, hone in on what works, because if you traded these tickers earlier in the day or even just earlier period, you know what levels are going to be spicy. Case in point, Microsoft. I had a long, I had a short, now I'm back long in this again, and both of those trades, I kind of knew which levels were going to make this one tick, right? So I am watching Microsoft here to the degree that I was actually just tempted to get everything out at 432.20s, 5s. If we can't break up at 432.25s, which actually now is in confluence almost with VWAP, that's going to be a red flag for me, so I'm going to be watching what the book does here. Basically, that was a level that, you know, I initially tried to get long off of because it was holding. Once it quadrupled, honestly, we never got back there again. So 432.25, that is massive resistance. I'm aware that that's massive resistance, but previous resistance, you know what it can do?
What?
It can flip to support.
Okay.
So I want to wait and see. I'm not adding here. I only have half the position left, so I took out this first out here at 431.9. What was this? 431.70s. That was because that was that previous support area, so I thought it could flip to resistance. It didn't. We cleared it, but I still wanted to take some out there. I had already added at that point at 431.40s, which was, again, another level I saw on the way down. So just basically to summarize all that mumbo-jumbo, what I'm using for Microsoft to plan this trade are levels I liked on the way down and trying to play off them on the way up. With that in mind, I have no other additions here. I don't want to add at this juncture. There's nothing screaming at me to add at this point. That the only area really would have been 75s. I already took some profit there, and we've kind of cleared that level. We're going to move the stop to 65, which is prior bar low, which is what Yeah, prior bar low in the 5-minute, which is what I usually use as my stop on some of these here trades. So let's see if that gets going. In the meantime, we're going to wait. But like I said, stop, regardless of my stop, if I see anything I don't like at 432.20, I have no qualms about getting out there. Also, I like Palantir as it pushed above VWAP. I could not get filled Palantir. I know it's short Palantir, got stopped out break even. Now, though, I am interested in the long if it bounces off VWAP. It clearly did. I did not get filled. It's all good. Where's the next trade? Potentially in Tesla, as it now tries to hold above 228. I'm going to stop yapping now, but I love your Apple trade. Shout out to you for yapping about Apple. Also, I want to look at CrowdStrike really quickly, guys, because CrowdStrike is on my side chart because it has an investor briefing today. Now, I saw that move up from 264s. I didn't trade it there because I was like, Adara, the volume's good, but we do have still lower highs. I would like to see what we do here at 266.50. Really what this will be is this will be a spur of the moment scalp or trade depending on what we get here at that investor briefing at 1 p.m. So CrowdStrike on watch. We just want to let you guys know. I know I'm trying to trade less tickers, but CrowdStrike is an exception. If I see something I like, I'm going to CrowdStrike that with the intensity it deserves. How you doing?
I'm seeing a couple of topping tails on the 5-minute here on Apple at the $0.50 level. I don't want to base too much off it because the future, look, the future's at an area of resistance over here. So this area over here at 19,660, we did bounce off in the earlier trading day at around 10:15. We had a little bit of support there, then bounced back up, and then we whiffled and waffled at this area, which is showing you a little 15 minutes of consolidation. So we're right back up there right now. So do we encounter some support? I have the closing print today at 19,675. So yeah, sure, that the closing print's important, but this level as well, at least right now, is showing more importance than the closing print. Why I'm looking at the futures because I'm involved in this Apple trade. We've been knocking on the door of this $0.50. Sure, we got into a little bit higher. We got into the high 50s, but it's showing you some propensity to sell there. And the way you can notice that is when you have a larger top wick than you do the body or the bottom wick. It just means selling pressure there, pushing the price back down every time it ascends. So there does seem to be a seller at the $0.50 or thereabouts on this name. And if that continues, well, then we'll have to think about how we want to execute on this trade because I was looking for 221 before I wet my beak. So here we go with the $0.50 again. Let's see if we're able to break through it. This one, though, APLT, we're long 52s. Now it's printing 65s. I mean, we were 1 penny from getting printed at 88s. It did wick up into 87s. I am kind of concerned if it does break below 60. I don't want to chart too much off the 1. I chart more off the 5, execute on the 1, but there does seem to be initial buying at 60. There was selling certainly at 60. So if it breaks that level, I want to be alive to the fact that it could be giving back some of the move there. So we'll keep watching. OMEX, look, it's okay. It's okay. It's still above the 10 exponential. What I'm concerned about is the buying dries up because I know the selling is getting aggressive because we're putting in lower highs. The only thing really keeping me, I don't want to say in this trade, but optimistic that the trade could manifest in the way that I want is the fact that it's holding above the 10 exponential, and there seems to be buying at this area. We wick down, and then buyers push it back up. But my estimation, at least for the last little while, is that the selling in the mid to low 70s has been stronger than the buying in the high 60s, low 70s. How long that lasts, your guess is as good as mine. What I'm waiting for here is the curl, the hold, the respect for the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart, off which it's been respecting all day. I mean, there were a couple of outlying events over here in the more liquid time of day at 10:10, 10:15, where it briefly broke below the 10 and bounced off the 20. I'm accounting for that because I've got a DCA waiting at 160, a planned dollar cost average. So OMEX going to have to manifest one way or another. We're 3 pennies out of the money on this one. We'll see how it goes with this trade. APLT coming in close to that 60, man. I don't know if I want to take this out. And the dead one. Oh, dead one, go, dead one, go. So this one weaseled up into 70s, Adara. We are long 14s. This is one of my better trades in a while. And not the biggest money maker, but that's okay. Thank you, Patty. We'll see if this one can weasel up into that 221 area, which is where I've been hanging out. We'll see if we can get a print in and around there. Adara, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Thank you, Sharif. I'm just, we're still in MSFT. We're going to move that stop there because we have had a new prior bar area. So where is, there we go. Let's find my Microsoft. Okay. So we're going to move that stop to 431.90s because that is now the new prior bar low in the 5. As we move that stop, I also want to address, I'm going to be taking profit out here at 69s. I know, yeah, okay, what's life without whimsy, but also that was an area of rejection. We did clear the 432.25 area for now. That's why I didn't take it out there. I'm willing to let it wait, and I'm willing to let this run a little bit. TSLA. Oh. I know I had said I wasn't going to trade this anymore, but I really, what I guess more what I meant was I'm going to stop trying to get involved in this around 228s. I know I took profit out here super early. We took profit like whatever. This was a 30-cent move. But I just wanted to de-risk a little bit here with VWAP. I have a stop right below 228s. I think that's a reasonable area. I am also willing to add if we come back and bounce here off 45. So I'm just going to set a B quarter here, 49s. Or not a B quarter, an add. We're going to add at 49s. Bang. Should we get there? Let's see what we get. Because we're not going to get upset, Sharif.
I like it, Adara.
Sorry, Bob. Also, I want to shout out Sean's Tesla short. Jeez. How it ended with a million money little faces. Look at these clean little ranges, and then it takes a move down there. Look, he got out basically at lows.
One went left, I said I was bidding.
Yeah, Sean took his walk, said bidding 227s, and Sean is the only person who can walk away from his stock, and then it just does exactly what he wants to do. No, I'm joking. But in all seriousness, shout out to Sean. That is a great look there on Tesla, and hopefully I will have a similar look on Tesla. No, I'm joking, but yeah, you got to trade what works for you. Shout out to that. Appreciate that. I want to shout out your Apple trades as well, because the dead one is a bamboozler. We were both, trying to chomp on that Apple earlier today. Okay, you know what, Microsoft?
What? I don't know why I'm answering on its behalf. But
no, I think, I respect that because it can't talk, so I need somebody to talk for it. Microsoft, every time I think you're going to reject, once again at 432.25, you've proved me wrong, so I'm actually not going to mess with this. I still want to take out at 70s because I think that's a fair area, if you will. But let's see what's going on. AMD, let's go up, says Tom H. Yeah, that's a name that used to be a semi-permanent resident on my side chart. It rented some space. It had some real estate, but I haven't looked at it in many moves. Wow, AMD. Tom H. Truth pushing back his chair too. Tom H. To be clear, I would be very cautious of this 150.20 level, and I say that because rejection. We'll have to see if it's a rejection. This is also an interesting pattern because we've got a flat top but lower highs, so it's a really different type of pattern. Not really one that I've necessarily seen in these here markets. Tesla, what are you going to do here at 229? We're not adding here. It would really be kind of weird to add here. We're going to move our stop to 228.70s because that was an area of interest earlier. Where is my stop at on Tesla? Just trying to find. I need to organize my. Okay, there we go. So we're moving our stop here to 228.71. So basically around VWAP. Where is we have no? To be clear, there's not a lot of size left in this. It is a really small position still left over, but I still want to treat this trade with the respect it deserves. I'll be getting out if we get to 39s because that was an area I saw earlier in the book that I like. So we're going to get ready. 229. We'll do 38s because 37s because you don't like to give these stocks that much room to run, Sharif. You really can't. That is you know how disrespectful that these gentlemen can be. So let's get out there. Microsoft, are you actually going to give us the fill we want? We might get the fill we desire here on Microsoft. Again, still using prior bar lows as my stop for Microsoft. And then I will be getting out the whole position if we get here at 432.65. So I'm trading the remainder of both these positions, but I have about double Microsoft what I have there in TSLA. Also Palantir, I know I was bemoaning the fact that I had gotten a nice push on Microsoft. I know I was bemoaning the fact that I wasn't able to add to that or get in back in this at 50s or VWAP, yada, yada, yada. But Palantir not really having the push up that I necessarily wanted it to, so I'm going to let this chill, going to let it bake. Is AAPL a reload, says SOS. Probably not the person to mention, or probably not the person to ask. That would be Sharif. But I think that could be an interesting look there. Intel curling as well. I don't want to trade too many tickers, but INTC getting a nice little reversion. Curl. Yesterday, this one did a reversion of a reversion of a reversion of a reversion. I actually asked Obi to confirm there was how many reversions we got in Intel yesterday. But let's see here. This 2095 area in Intel, could it bounce? Could 21 do something for INTC? I don't necessarily want to load into another ticker, but this is an interesting one. I also don't want to, that's my thing too. I'm kind of torn because you don't want to avoid trades just because you're like, I don't want to trade too many names either, right? So let's see what happens. If there's something beautiful that sets up, I like this potential reversion. But right now, honestly, Palantir, I want to see how this shakes up. And I want to continue to ride the TSLA. and Microsoft trades to the fullest of their abilities. Thank you to Roger for shouting out. I guess, yeah, we have a dollar club at Microsoft. And we got filled on Microsoft, so please just punch with that. Let's go MSFT. Looks like a good area too, because now we're kind of flopping. I'm not going to get back involved in this till we get back to some of my earlier levels. Please just punch with this trade. Happy I took it out where I did. How you doing over here with that Vivos?
Vivos, we fat fingered it there. We got in at 50s. I took the entire position out at 60s. That wasn't the move. In fact, I don't even really like where I got in. I was getting in here to get a starter position. I like the 33 penny area. I'm looking for an area defend. I'll get to my other trades in a second, but I want to talk about Vivos for a second because you guys are yapping about it nonstop in the chat. Look at the umpteen amounts of topping tails at 4 1/5. So I was trying to front run it at 4 1/3 to account for the 10 exponential on the 5. Look what it did, bruh. Like it came in right into 437s. Give me the dang 33 fills. So I had to chase it at 50s. I made a mistake taking out the entire position at 60s. That wasn't the move. I still like this possibly for a quick breach of the 10 exponential. I love the fact that so many candles, topping tail, all reject initially at 420. Okay, I don't know. Shout out to 420 Blood Monster. I like this level. I'm probably going to put another order out for it to see if it does hold at that level or not. Now, that's the move for my VVOS trade. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to sit at 433. Come on. It's already leaving, bro. It's not going to come back. Anyway, whatever. I'm really happy with this trade on Apple. Got out at 75s. It continued higher, obviously. Goes without saying. Got to 88s. And now curling back down into 75s. We're going to keep an eye on Apple. APLT, look, I wanted to add at the 50 penny level. I made that clear. I made a mistake not adding. I'm still holding a piece. We're looking for 88s as the out. It went to 87s. Is it an add here, though? That is not my style. I don't want to add here. We're too in the middle range for me to want to add. I want to add at the top or at the bottom, and I feel this is kind of midpoint right now, so I would not add here. It's zigging and zagging right now too, so keep your eye out on this one. Now, this is the one that's gonna have to hold up here, or that's the last straw. OMEX, this is a 20 exponential. This was the planned DCA that we were yapping about, and there is an area crest here, 2 area crests actually to account for near this area, that if they don't hold, well, then the trade is no longer valid. I'm looking at this area, 155, kind of 150-ish. It doesn't hold this area. That's the end of the trade, and we're going to lose on it. But we're already 8 pennies out of the money, but it's trying to hold up here. Let's see where we go with this one. Now, let me tell you about this. I have very lofty profit takers here that we're not accounting for this descent. So I'm going to have to adjust my profit takers with a 170 average over here. The first beak wetter, I was sitting at 82s. The next one was 88s. So I don't know if I get that anymore, right? So we're going to have to account for that. I don't want to take out too much too quickly. If this one ascends and I don't get stopped out, that's a big if. I don't want to be in the position of taking out too much too quickly because it was against me. Right? Well, what was the point of that then? Right? Then you're kind of DCAing to get out of the trade. You're not DCAing to make money because it's planned. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to move down my profit takers. That could end up biting me in the rear end. We shall see. I do have my out on this one. If it gets triggered, it gets triggered. And it looks like it's coming back down. It looks like sellers in control of OMEX here. I got to be honest with you. Obviously, we're still above VWAP. VWAP's above 40, but I was trying to base my levels off key areas of technical support and resistance. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm not going to fight with this one. So that's the look there. VVOS. Still with my dip trade at 4 1/3, unfilled, going up to 4 3/4. This is awfully strong. Let me give you the details on it because I didn't get to talk about this one initially. 15 3/4 million market cap, about 41 million shares traded already, and it's got a very small 3 million share float. So this one can absolutely move. Let's find out what the short float is, and shout out to Nos Boss and his crew. No real big short float here, just about 1 3/4 of that 3 1/3 million shares is borrowed for shorted arrow. So we're going to pack our patience there. We're going to start in that lesson awfully soon. Just want to deal with this dang OMEX trade. How you doing over there?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. I am in one trade, and I want to talk about Tesla because I added, and I know it's like, I'm not going to add. But I've also, I don't know why I did that voice. I've also always said, and not always, this has been more recent, if I see something in the book that is screaming at me, I have no problem getting out of trades earlier than I wanted to, and I also have no problem adding. Within reason, within levels that make sense. So with that in mind, I actually did add to TSLA. We're going to be taking out, I added at 85s, I believe, because I liked what we were doing in the book at the time. I also had realized, like, my stop at the time was like, where was it? Like 228.70. That was way too conservative for what we were doing at the time. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, figure out your life there, Adara. The stop currently right now is, is it 228? Where is my stop right now? My stop is at 228.55s, I believe. So that's where the stop is. And that was from that VWAP support resistance flip area. So it's like, if we break below that area, I want no smoke. I'll be taking out half the position at 229, the other half at 229.40. I might regret that addition later, but you know what? You have to trade what you like. And I'm still risking less than I was initially. Also, Palantir, I liked this bull flag. Finally got filled. We're going to be risking, I have to set my stop though, because I just got filled in this, 36. We're going to do 43s. So risking about, ooh, that is not what I wanted to do. We're going to be risking about 7 cents here, which I think is realistic for Palantir given the size of my trade as well. Took a few more shares. What we're going to be doing, we're going to be starting to de-risk this as we push into 60s, then as we push into 70s. Again, I really want to be cognizant that this isn't a FOMO trade because I initially didn't want to get long involved at VWAP, but I do like these levels, and I think risking into 43 also makes sense because that was that pretty key VWAP support resistance area. It held beautifully as support earlier, and then once we cracked below it, that was all she wrote for the long. So I think this is an area that makes sense for me based on, again, what I see in the book, which is one thing I feel really comfortable with, and then also what I see in the chart. Tesla. Can you do something for me? Can you please give us 229s for me? Do your thing, 229. Yeah, I'm going to stop trying to sing that. But good look at that there. Yeah, so just to clarify, again, too, I'm seeing some comments about it. We have the FOMC decision, 2 p.m. Our show will be done at 1:45. And we will also have, then there's another thing I wanted to say.
What?
1:45. Oh, yeah, and then Papa Powell will hop on that mic. The reversion man himself will be dropping some hot fire, some hot lines at 2:30.
Dot plot. Economic projections. Are you not excited?
I
want to see the dot plot.
Yeah. I mean, I love when Jay Powell talks, and I've talked about this a lot because I love the questions people ask him, and his like confused responses. Like my favorite is when this guy asked him, I think it was at some kind of college thing, like, if you had a crystal ball, what would you want to know about the economy? And he was like, I wouldn't want to. Like I was.
You wouldn't want to?
Yeah, he was like,
really,
I don't know. Like he didn't know.
You believe
he was
him?
confused, I think, by the question.
Oh, yeah.
Which is fair because it was kind of a weird question. But I remember even like literally, I was talking to my sister yesterday on FaceTime, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Jerome Powell's sitting in the mic." She's like, "Yeah, I know you love when he comes on." Like
I love how your sister knows who Jay Powell is.
I'm so entertained by this man. I think I also showed her the close the door video. But yeah, let's see. Hopefully, we won't have to close the door on this Tesla trade quite yet. I would love to see us push into 229s. At this point, I will also be moving my stop to prior bar lows. Let's see if we can get a spike higher in that Cybertruck. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Palantir basically flat, but that one sometimes takes a minute to get going. So let's see if we can get crack-lacking on these trades. Just got our fill on the Cybertruck. Beep, beep. Got to recharge that guy in the station. We're not going to add to this trade right now. We're just going to see what we do at 40s. How are you doing?
Good. We're going to start the lesson du jour. I wanted to mention that Apple got into 221s. So I was thinking possibly short here, be honest with you, but I'm not going to do that with the lesson. The market is at the closing print from yesterday, 19,675. We have 3 5-minute candles that kind of reject in and around that area. Keep your eye on 19,675 on the NQ December contract. We are now charting on the December contract. Mashworth, thank you very much, my friend, for the $2 super chat. Sharif, take a look at levels. Oracle, no problem. Let's have a look at ORCL. What's his name again? The dude, the founder of Oracle again? Yeah, David, what's his name? Larry Ellison. Now the second richest man after the Musk one and above Bezos now. So there you go. Bezos was at the fight on the weekend, by the way, at the Canelo fight, and he was taking pictures with everybody. This guy's a celebrity now. He's not a CEO anymore. He's chairman of the board. He can let Jassy worry about all that jazz. So shout out to him, enjoying his life. You look good too. TRT does a hell of stuff for you there. So keep an eye out on Oracle over here. Great VWAP rejections today on Oracle. Sure, the more liquid time of the day, you do get these breaches, but look how quickly they are able to retrace. And look at that. The vigor with which they're able to break VWAP lessens and lessens as the day goes on. Look at this. So close is above VWAP, but then rejects super quick. Wicks above, quick drop down. Then it's only one candle that can work up. So I like Oracle as a short today off VWAP, possibly. Yeah, there's also a trend line you can draw, obviously, with lower highs. That's my look for Oracle on the day. I don't know how you were looking at trading it. Daily, obviously, Oracle looks fantastic with support, obviously, at that 147. We kept rejecting off that. I'd say 150 likely a better level if you want to get into the long term on Oracle. So thank you for the super chat. Hope you primed up multiple storms. And let me know how it goes. Oh, baby, we got the print on APLT. And this one, oh, and all the way to 8. So that's like a 30 some odd penny winner for me on an $8 name. Happy with this trade. Still could do a little bit better on it. Yeah, I'm upset with myself for not having added. I was yapping about that 55 penny ad. You look away and it's gone anyway. That's the look there. This is the trouble one, though. This is trouble for me. I don't like how OMEX is setting up at all. At all. And here it comes as I'm talking. It's going to drop below 50. Doesn't hold 50. I want no more smoke with this one. We're going to lose on this one. And there is selling here as now it is using previous area of support at, say, $1.66, maybe 1 2/3, and it's basically using that now as resistance. Look how it tried to work back into $1.64, 65, and then it was met with a wall of selling. I still feel like the sellers are in control here, and I'm going to be in trouble. Let's see what it does at VWAP. We're going to let this one cook, and then let basically come what may. What are you doing over there, Katina Man? Tesla? He's watching the market. The Katina Man is watching the market. What did the market do? Let me just have a look quickly over here. What do we do? Yeah, we rejected off 19,675 all the way down, looks like to 19,650, but getting bought up right back into the 60s. Who knows how this market's going to go? Apple dropped nicely off 221. Look at that quick wick down into $0.25. Now it's back into 3/4. Who do you think you are, NVIDIA? Who do you have trading like this, Apple, making me look bad for calling you the dead one? It's moving like I haven't seen it move before. Obviously, people were trading Apple far before I came into the market, and it used to be the darling, apparently, of the options market. Then Tesla was, now NVIDIA is. And here it is on OMEX. I'm going to get stopped out. That's a tough one for me. This is a bigger loss. Let me just call a spade a spade. There's 4 ads into this, so this is trouble for me. How much did I lose on this one? Is this trouble? Yeah, it's a bigger loss. That's okay. So we'll keep an eye on this one. If it wants to hold up at the volume weighted average price, let's put an alert around there to see what we do. It's about like $1.41, $1.42, but this one looks like it's giving it all up over here. So that's a tougher one. Mixed bag for me today. Let's see what we get going after this lesson du jour. We're talking about double tops and double bottoms today. We're continuing with the discussion on these reversal patterns. So let's get right to it. We'll get to more reversal patterns as this week and the next week goes on. So by the end of this lesson, we aspire to understand the double top and double bottom patterns, how to measure the potential price targets, and the practical application of these patterns in trading strategy. So let's get right down to business, baby. As we typically do, we'll just introduce the topic de novo. So double tops and bottoms are what we call classic reversal patterns that signal a change in the trend direction. A double top is indicative of a market shift from bullish to bearish, while a double bottom signals a reversal and a move from bearish to bullish. Some of the key features of double tops and bottoms. The double top, let's start with that. It's got 2 peaks of similar height separated by a moderate trough. The exact opposite is true of the double bottom, where you have 2 troughs of similar depth and they're separated by a moderate peak. What better way to show than an image? There you go. There's your first top. There's your second top, and there is your middle trough area where we held up. And this area over here is going to become important because we're going to base the neckline off that. But just a view of this chart over here, you got to love how the neckline ended up holding at a previous area of resistance. I do love that because it's a predictable area off which you can possibly get in to ride the double top to the high side. I mean, you don't know it's going to be a double top until it makes that right side, right? So at this area, I don't know. I personally would love to get in at this area over here because it's a predictable area off which to get in. So let's talk about how to identify these double tops and bottoms, some tricks over here. So let's talk about the double top formation first. It looks like OMEX is really tanking over here because I just got an alert that it dipped into that volume weighted average price. So I want to stop the lesson for a second over here just to have a look at our friend OMEX and see whether or not it finds that support off of $1.40. It's at VWAP right now. It's very aggressive red candle. There's Yeah, I don't think it's prudent for me to punch along in here and do the lesson. So we're just going to watch that one and see what it does. So let's identify tops and bottoms. Let's talk about the double top formation first. So essentially the double top pattern is formed when the price rises to a resistance level, it declines again, then rises again to test, I should say, the same resistance level, but it fails to break through it. This pattern often forms after a significant uptrend, showing exhaustion in buying strength. So again, like we talked about yesterday with the head and shoulders pattern, it's incumbent upon you to identify the trend after identifying the pattern. Usually you see the pattern first, or maybe you don't, who knows? But the point is to look at what the trend was preceding the formation of the pattern. In the case of a double top, you should see an uptrend. And then the neckline here is important as well, as I kind of prefaced earlier. The horizontal support line at the trough, between the two peaks, this is a break below that, confirms the pattern and signals a potential move to the downside. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. We reject off point A, come back down into that trough area, point B, we move back up, point C, but then look at that point B break. And that's where the more conservative trader would execute an entry on the double top at point B. That's not necessarily where everyone else would get in. A lot of people would be able to identify that we've rejected at that same level. So point A, point C, obvious to be able to see them together, and they get in somewhere on the way down to the neckline, perhaps even wetting their beak or adding to the position upon the break of the neckline. So a conservative entry enters after the neckline break, a more risk prone entry enters on the formation of the right side of the double top. Double bottom, kind of the same look there. It's essentially a mirror image of the double top. It does occur though after a downtrend when the price tests the support level twice, but without breaking it, and then moves back up. Once the price breaks above the neckline, it indicates the potential for a new or more prolonged uptrend. But as we talked about yesterday with the head and shoulders, the bottoms take longer to form than the tops. And for whatever reason, you know, people maybe take more time to decide whether to buy than as opposed to when to sell. Maybe that's the reason, maybe some psychology. Don't really know. I know that is a fact statistically. Double bottoms take longer to form than these double tops. They hang around the support area for sometimes a little bit longer. So what you'll see is the right side of the W maybe kind of flat for a little bit before it starts making higher highs and higher lows. But volume here, operative, so in a double top, volume typically decreases as the second peak is forming, and then you have higher volume upon the neckline break. Same thing with the double bottom. You have rising volume on the breakout of the neckline, so keep your eye out for that. Let's talk about there's this image first. So there's your double bottom over here. There's your neckline break, and then you should be looking for higher volume bars on the bottom once that neckline, which is the dotted line over here, is broken to the upside. Sure.
I'm ready to go with it. Okay. So this part of the show is brought to you by Trade the Pool. Look at this girl with her awesome little pink ombre. Becoming a funded trader means trading with the firm's money instead of your own. At Trade the Pool, you'll first complete an evaluation by hitting profit targets while managing risk. Once you pass, you get access to up to $260,000 in buying power. You get to keep up to 80% of your profits, and the firm covers the risk. It's a perfect way to trade big without risking your own funds. Are you ready to become a funded trader?
No.
Oh, I think you might be a little too late for that. Join Trade the Pool. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Thank you very much to Trade the Pool for pooling their resources for us.
Oh, there it is. I'm getting into this again. No, you're good. I put my stop and play, and we're all good to go there. All right, let's get down to business. Let's talk about the measuring technique here for the double tops and double bottoms. So like we talked about yesterday with the head and shoulders pattern, you're measuring from the top of the head to the neckline, and then you're projecting that downward. Same thing with the inverse head and shoulders. You're measuring from the bottom of the trough to the neckline and projecting that upwards. That's kind of the same thing here with the double top and double bottom. So the height of the pattern measured from the peaks in a double top or the troughs in a double bottom to the neckline, that provides the basis for the price target. So we've talked about this when we did the week on the measured move. The measured move acts simply here as a guideline. Bless you, Ram. As a guideline for setting your price targets. For example, if the distance between the peak and the neckline is $5, the expected move after the break of the neckline is supposed to be $5 in the direction of the trend reversal as well. And this is kind of what we're talking about here. So if you have the distance between the troughs of the double bottom and the neckline, here it says it's 170 pips. So what you need to do is you need to project 170 pips above the neckline break, and that's where you're looking to wet your beak. In this case, it would be over here. Shout out to the measured move. Entry points, let's talk a little bit about that as well. So the practical application, obviously, is what we're going to talk about here. We're going to talk about entry points, stop loss placement, and volume confirmation. Let's start with entry points. Traders typically enter a short position after a confirmed break of the neckline in a double top pattern, while traders typically enter long after the neckline break in a double bottom. Again, this is more, that's kind of more conservative style where you wait for the actual neckline break before entering the long. Many traders would take on a bit more risk by entering on the right side of the double bottom and entering somewhere across here with their stop below the low of the right side of the double bottom. Stop loss placement as well, very important. A stop loss should be placed above the second peak in a double top or should be placed below the second trough in a double bottom, obviously to manage risk, and this is what we're talking about here. So if you're going to get in the formation of the right side of the W, I would say place your stop below here. But you know, if you're getting in above the neckline break, personally, I want this neckline to hold. It's an area of previous resistance, so it should act as support, and you see here it comes to retest it. So personally, if I was to get in at the neckline, I'd have my stop a little bit below the neckline. If I got in above the neckline, I'd have it below the neckline. I personally wouldn't want to put my stop all the way down on the right side of the double bottom, you know, and then give back this entire move. So that's kind of my feeling there. If it's an area of previous resistance, it should somewhat act as support. So if that is the case and you wait for the neckline break, then I would place my stop somewhere, you know, kind of random down here. But if I was to get in on the formation of the right side of the double bottom, my stop would be placed below the low. Volume confirmation, last slide here. Volume plays a crucial role, certainly in validating these patterns. Traders should ensure that there is an increase in volume when the price breaks a neckline for a more reliable signal. And without volume confirmation, guys, the breakout may not sustain. You need to be on the lookout for that. So this is kind of what we're looking at here. We have the right side of the double top. Oops. The right side of the double top, right side of the double, or left side of the double top, right side of the double top. It definitely holds in and around the same area. And the look is, once we get that big boy neckline break, look for big boy volume. If there isn't, you need to be suspicious. To conclude, double tops and bottoms are reliable reversal patterns used by traders, obviously, to anticipate shifts in the trend and understanding how the measured move projects your potential price target, your beak wetter, and the importance of volume in confirmation provides the foundation for successfully integrating these patterns into your trading strategy. Adara?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sharif, for that lesson of the day, killing it as always there. I want to shout that. I know I sound like how you usually talk with Neil, informative and insightful as always, but yeah, I mean that. So thank you very much to Sharif with that. Palantir, we got our first beak wetter here. Ooh. We have some more planned, as you can see. We're going to get another piece here just before 3660s in our last chunk. Or not our last chunk, we got a lot more chunks left, but we'll have just over half the position out by the time we get above 70s. Then I want to save pieces for dreams. I'm also willing to add if any of these areas that I like for beak wetters end up becoming flipping from resistance to support. So if we start bouncing off 56s, I'll be adding. Start bouncing off 65, I'll be adding. I haven't moved my stop as of yet. Still having the stop here at 45, so I think that's a pretty reasonable area. But let's see what's going on here. Also, I am involved in a short on CrowdStrike, and as I said in the chat, it's a little bit tentative, it's a bit speculative, and it's a smaller position. I'm risking 50 cents. So for me, that makes sense with regards to my risk unit principle. It's also a smaller position. But why I liked the concept of this is because I was watching the book, and we are really struggling with getting anything salient above 266.50. Now, I know we're above that right now, technically on the ask, and we'll get these little false pops here. We'll get the bid creep at 266.47. I start panicking. I'm panicking. And then it does nothing. And now we're actually getting a bit of an ask creep to the downside, which is something I've always thought was bearish. That's where I said shortish almost. Also, guys, it's a bit of a double top. We talked about double top patterns. Now, a double top rejecting VWAP.
Oh, I like the rhymes.
Right, it does rhyme, and it's also a little confluency. I didn't want to trade any more tickers here, but I did say earlier today as well, CrowdStrike was going to be my exception because I really, this is a name I like trading. I knew it was going to be on watch with regards to its investor briefing. And you know what? That briefing is in 5 minutes. There's 100% a very real possibility I just get chopped out of this. I have a stop, like I've set the stop in a way that I think makes sense, even with it being spready. It's going to be right before 267, so risking roughly 50 pennies, depending on where that we actually get executed there. I'm not adding to this until I see something more into 266s. And again, I'm not even sure I will, but I don't want to give up on this trade because I like the look of it enough that I want to try. And again, very speculative, small position, all that. Other than that, we have Palantir. Also, Tesla got stopped out. Power bar lows, and it actually would have gotten to that level I liked at 229.40s. I actually want to say something too. So Jay Lee in the chat, I actually don't even know if Sean was short Tesla at this point. I think that was after we showed his little tweet and he was out of it. But Jay Lee was like, oh, like Sean's short Tesla, like maybe have a tight stop in case you're wrong. And I was like, you know what, thank you for telling me. But also I think my thing too is like, I want to trade my plan, right? Because you can have different ideas in stocks and trade them differently. Like Sean, both Sharif and I were trading Apple in different ways. He made money in the long, I made money in the short, right? And so I think that's valid, but I think you also have to stick with what you do. Having the stop at prior bar low worked for me, although ironically, I actually could have gotten like another like 70, 80 cents out of it, right? So I think it's about what your plan is, because I mean, no one can trade your plan for you, right? You have to be, I know we say confident, but really it's like, confidera, as Darwin says, it's Sharifident. It's whatever you feel like confidence is for you, whatever trades make sense to you, because everyone's gonna have their own style, their approach to the market, level of experience with the market, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that's value. Just go with what makes sense to you. So I want to shout out that comment because that one really made me think. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with my plan. Happy I did. Crowd is, I'm absolutely, we're going to move my stop because I don't think I'm going to get executed where I want to on crowd, and I'd rather just get out of this now. I do not like what I'm seeing here. Sam I am, or Sharif I am, or viewers I am. Yeah, I got out here. Honestly, happy I tried it. It ended up looking a little bit dicier than I wanted it to, and good thing I got out where I did because we're continuing to have that push up. I should have waited for the briefing, but it is what it is. Also, Palantir, are we knocking on the door of my next peak winner? Potentially. Hello. With that in mind, I'm going to get ready to add another piece here if we get bounced at 36. Yes, okay. Good times. More excited than I've gotten in a while. Try to be a calmer trader, Sharif. We're going to add a piece here at 36.55. I just want to see how much I have left of the position as of right now. Okay, dope. So we're going to add here a little bit at 36.55. So it's right now we've taken out about 40% of the position. We're not going to add all of that back, but we're going to give enough that we have a little bit to work with here. 55, we're going to add that much. Let's go. Let's see if we get filled, because that was certainly a support resistance area. If that flips, I want how much of that smoke? All of it. Yeah, let's get down to Sharif for that. Let's see. I'm still trying to figure out where to move my stop to, and I've said that's one of my biggest issues when I'm like adding to my trades as I go, where to move the stop. I need to work on more clear, concrete exit plans, and that's something I'm definitely trying to figure out as I aggressively journal, as I learn. Right now, we're in Palantir, and it could not be more Palantir that, I don't know, there's actually no ending to that. It could not be more Palantir that Alex Karp is selling, but right now, I'm buying, and hopefully eventually going to sell, because that's how trading works. How you doing?
Good. We took a nice little trade on VVOS. Sorry, guys, my head's pounding. I gotta go take one of Ram's Tylenols or whatever over there, because it's just, thank you, Ram. I appreciate you. Yeah, if I can grab one, Katina, man. Yeah, I'd like Advil better than Tylenol, Ram. Why are you gonna, I appreciate you, brother. I'm gonna get a bottle of water in a sec. But yeah, we took this trade. Happy with this trade over here. 575, knocked on the door of 6. I kept seeing the wall of sellers and incrementally come back down, but I still like this, guys. I mean, just because we retrace doesn't mean that it's all over for this one. In fact, I think we probably hold up at 5.5. Let's see if we don't hold up at 5.5. I'm certainly looking at 5, and we are breaking down below 5.5. So topping tail, and it's breaching a little bit. Look, the 10 exponential exponential on the 5 on VVOS. Remember how we talked about using the 10 exponential as an informal way to gauge overbought and oversold conditions on these small cap gappers? And that's kind of what I'm looking at here. So big extension away from the 10 exponential, which right now is 491. We printed 595s. It's got to come in and get a little closer to the 10 exponential. So if it does breach 5.5, I will be looking at 5. I will be looking to add at 5, likely with a resting order, because I may not be able to catch that, as it, doesn't usually hang out at these levels for all that long, because buyers will start stepping into them. Because if I'm looking at it, other people are looking at it too. So 5.5 gives way. I'm looking at 5, but if we hold up here, start curling back up, I'm going to punch long again, possibly to take out 6. Good look for VVOS today. We've been very positive on it. 2 trades so far, both positive, but this one, obviously, I didn't give back anything on this trade, but I did not have the full print as I saw the selling come in, so I got the hell out of there. That's exactly what I did there. So these small cap gappers, as I've said many times, they're around for a good time, not necessarily a long time. So we'll see if 5.5 wants to be an important level over here, whether it's just going to be another level that it glances at as it tanks all the way down. Apple doing the absolute most right now in a good way. 221 to third, curling up. I apologize for the look there on the chart, because it is kind of convoluted a little bit with the dark pool print. But here, this could be a double top on the dead one, okay? Now, we just finished yapping about double tops. What needs to come before the double top formation? Oh, I remember, an uptrend. Do we have an uptrend here? Yes, we do. Higher highs and higher lows usually means an uptrend. Do we have 2 similarly kind of areas of resistance? Yes, we do. 221, so let's say 50, and right now 221.33, a third and a fifth, awfully close. We haven't started tanking yet, but I'm on the lookout for it. I don't have to be first to get in. I just need to know that it possibly could come into play. So if that's the case on Apple and wants to reject off that 221.50, if a third of a dollar right now, we'll take it short. And I think that we have a good possible price target at 220. Right? So we'll see. AAPL certainly in play here. Look at the recovery, though, on the Cybertruck. Wowzers. What a move up. 226.88 low. We just breached through 230. We're still certainly not above the IB high. The IB high is still well above where we are right now. 231.75. We didn't spend any time there. Quick move up, then all the way back down there for TSLA, but it is above key areas of resistance. 230 was a level. Just asked that print at 1040. As well here, 950. 225 was a level. We breached both of those. Obviously still below the IB high. Tesla doing its absolute most in a good way. Did I just get printed on something there? I just saw my blotter flicker. Let me just make sure
That's so
everything's
stressful
good.
when you see the blotter flicker and you're like,
Right?
why?
No, we're good. We're good. It's all good there. We're not in any positions. And yes, we are all good there. No problemos. Just making sure over here that we're good. PRTG, yes. That's not a good trade today. So APLT coming back down to 750, guys. Is this an ad? People were asking me, yo, Sharif, what do you think of APLT over here? Well, I complained that I didn't add at 750. Okay, Sharif, so it's back at 747, 748. Do you want to add here? Yes, I do. We're long. We're not. Dude, what is going on today? I think oh, there we go. We're good to go. It's just me. I'm being crazy. So, we're long here at Dara. What we're going to do is we're going to give this one 10 pennies to the area low over here. If it breaks, we're gone. What's your look?
Yeah, shout out to that. I just got stopped out of PLTR. I moved my stop. I added at 55, so it's trying to be a bit premature. But either way, I had to move my stop accordingly. Move my stop to 51s, which is around break even there, and I got stopped out. Almost said shut down. I'm not shut down, to be clear. Got stopped out of PLTR. All good there. We did take some profit on the way up. I want to see what it does at 50s, but I'm not going to be in any hurry to get back into this name unless I see anything spicy. CrowdStrike, your meeting has started like 4 minutes ago. CrowdStrike, honestly, I would not have I wouldn't have gotten stopped out. I stand by getting out where I did, and the only reason I say that is because the way it looked on the book, I would not have wanted to stay in that. That was gross. I wanted to get out post-haste. The way we were kind of trying to bid up here into 267s, I was like, ew, 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 ew. But I will have no problem shorting again if we have a nice crack below 266.35. Now, why do I think CrowdStrike is short? I mentioned the pseudo double top action. I'm aware the other way to read this pattern could potentially be a bull flag with that base of 266.40, and that's why if I get short again, I need to see that break below 266.40. Either way, we were in an uptrend, a nice uptrend, and now we're pretty stagnant, so I want to definitely see what is shaking there. Palantir below the 90 MA almost looks shortish to me, but I don't want to like FOMO into the short. I have no, like, I was profitable on both the long and the short. I got stopped out of both eventually, but I did take pieces out of both as well. So CrowdStrike and watch there, Palantir and watch there, Tesla at 230. So Tesla at 230, which also at the time that Fed Powell will take the mic. We did have that nice pop up here of 229. Now we're kind of stagnant. It looks similar to what we did at 229, where we wrestled the longs and the shorts. We're like duking it out, boxing, and then we picked a lane, picked a direction. So I want to wait till we pick a direction until I get involved. One area I would be looking at would be 65s. Why 65s, you may ask? Well, the book was kind of interesting around there. And also, look at all of this rejection. I think if resistance can flip to support, which we know it often has a tendency to do, then I would like to be involved in all that jazz. Either that or you get long and you risk into 65s, but I'd rather get long at 65s. Also, Microsoft. Another one. So, because I was involved in Palantir, I did not have the buying power to get into this Microsoft, and believe me, I tried. At that 431.75, that was a level that I loved. Support, resistance, break above, support. We did not get filled. It's all good, baby, baby. The other level I'd be looking at for Microsoft long, because that thing is still in an uptrend, is going to be 432.25. That was the level I liked. So let's see what we do at 432.25s. Also, I'm very proud because I feel like we sort of had a bottom call on Microsoft, and I feel like that never happens. So small pat on back. It's been a really rough last few weeks of trading. I've been really upfront about that. But that's what's great about these markets. It gives you opportunities when you fall down to dust the dirt off your shoulders, shout out to Jay-Z, and just keep on rocking it. Also, Palantir, trying to head into VWAP. Are you, Palantir? Trying to be a short, are you, Palantir? I think you are, Palantir. So, at the risk of this being a little intense, we are actually going to get short Palantir. And I'm going to be short Palantir. I'm going to be risking into 53s. It's going to be tight, getting short 50s, risking into 53s, but I'm taking more size with this. Let's get involved. Let's see what the action is. 50s, risking into 53s. That was a big level of decision on the book. Larger size. We're going to be taking out a third of the position if we get to VWAP. I don't even know if we'll get filled, but either way, I like this Palantir. What I've learned is you have to be aggressive. And it's like, because I realized too, I was like, is position sizing my issue? But the days I would have the worst days were, it would be like days where I wasn't taking a ton of size. So it really is not about size, it's about your mindset. It's about how you're approaching the market. It's about your ideas. If the ideas are sound, they should be able to be scalable. And so then in that way, size should not matter. And yes, I know what I said. It's whatever, it's cool. Let's see, I apologize. I came out. Let's see what we have here with Palantir. And honestly, I feel like I have even more confluence for this 35,650 area because look at that resistance, support, resistance. We know these levels flip, they forth, they zig, they zag, they wobble. So I think this could work out. Let's see if we get filled though on PLTR. And guys, GME says Tobias Hernandez, okay, gimme. Is Gimmick going to give me any trading opportunities? Okay. That sound was because this chart is yucky. If we reclaim, what is this? 19 just shy of 60s, and I say that because that was A, that would be a push above the 90 MA, and B, that was a level we had a pretty harsh topping tail candle. We can reclaim that area, maybe it's a long, and then maybe you try to take some profit out at 1975. Cool year, cool band, and cool price level. Let's see what happens at GME though, because it's really gonna have to give you that level before you can say, give me some shares. Also the $20 level, which you think could be kind of interesting. There's not much interaction here with 20. We mostly kind of slid below it all day, so we'll have to see what happens. I don't have much of a read on Gumma, but I hope for whoever trades, I hope it gives you some prints, because that's what we all hope here on Trader TV Live. I guess we can do that last lesson pretty soon, because we're done here at 1:45 today, Sharif. Oh. What a vibe. Tesla, are you going to top and tail at 230? Because if so, I will short you. You know I will. What are you looking at over here? I can't. This is what an abbreviated show today, Sharif. It's crazy. It's always crazy to me when we have like less with these FOMCs and stuff
Very
like that.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting look today. All right, Adara, I just have to manage this position right now. VVOS, we're long to defend 5. I do like this area. I'm trying to give it a little bit of room, knowing that I'm front running 5 a little bit, and that the actual rejection was at 490, not 5. But you have to account for the people who want to front run this at the whole dollar. We're giving this the old community college try. Let's see if it wants to hold 5. I'm looking to wet my beak in the low 20s if it does hold. So right now it's below 5, but you can tell there's a bit of a tug of war happening right now between buyers and sellers at this level. VVOS, super interesting name. We're going to risk a little bit over here. Well, not that much. We're not risking that much, but it's going to have to hold this general area of 5. It's below it right now. Let's see what comes of this one. This other trade we just did really well on, APLT. Keep printing on this one. Added at that 750, took it out at 766. Looking for another move, possibly back into 8. We knew that resistance was going to encounter at 8. That's why I front run it at 90. So we'll pack our patience there. Still zigging and zagging with VVOS at 5. If this one pops back up, I just really hope I don't get specially broken out. A specialist breakdown or breakout was where essentially that the intention of whatever algo is trading this or individual who's trading this, we're going to get stopped out here for breaks 90, is to basically head in the direction of the trend, but they stop everybody out before they do that to take your money. And that's kind of just the way it is, and you have to accept that with trading these small caps. So right now, 490, we're knocking on the door. VVOS below the 10 exponential on the 5. I got into this area because I like this price action support. If it doesn't hold up there, then we're wrong on the trade, and we just have to admit that to ourselves and move on. So it's still zigging and zagging right now, below 5 though, and that's what's concerning me. Let's see if it's able to weasel its way right above 5, showing that the buyers are seeing what I'm seeing. Right now, it's coming into 5, but it's being met with a wall of sellers. So right now, sellers, overwhelming buyers at this level. Do they overwhelm them just enough to push me out, though? I know the market doesn't care about where my out is, but I do. So I want to know exactly what happens over here. I'm trying to predict what happens is what I should say. We'll keep watch on VVOS there. Let's see what the other trade is doing. 766. We're still holding a piece for the dream. I'd like something in and around 790 just to play the range on this one, but we are going to pack our patience. Oh boy, 491 coming in here. It looks like it's going to break. What are you looking at, Adair?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, we're going to see if we can get, yeah, okay, we get perfect. Filled here at Tesla, TSLA, no, we're starting to get filled, but we were finally able to place an order because, like I said, larger size in Palantir, so I had to take less shares in Tesla, just, again, buying power things. TSLA, we're risking here into this kind of wick here into 40. So again, a little bit more risk, but I'm taking a smaller position. And again, it makes sense both based on like what I actually see on the chart, what I saw in the book, and my risk management principles. Rant over. What we're going to do here is we're going to get short, like I said, 230s. All these topping tail candles, we're definitely not going to get filled, so I'm going to cancel that order. But if we come again and reject 229.30s, or sorry, 230s, that's the word. I am interested. I also, though, love that 229.65 area. So we're going to put the Tesla book up on my book because I usually have it up, but I switched it to crowd, which, by the way, is kind of doing not much. Sometimes you think a catalyst is going to happen, but the market will tell you what catalysts are important. The market does not give a hoot about Crowd's investor event. Clearly, had the nice push up with the rest of the market, decent volume, about 1.5 million shares, but not really moving in a way that is intriguing as of right now. I still have the chart up, but there's definitely no reason for me to have the book up when, in my opinion, Tesla is a little bit spicier. So let's see what we get at 65s on Tesla. TLTR, we got filled. I am pleased as punch. I have 3 beak waters. This is a larger position we're going to take out. And this is like, honestly, largest position I've ever had live. But I feel good about it because I'm managing it appropriately. And that's what matters. So we're risking 3 cents. Again, 53s. That was just a level I liked here in the book. I was worried we'd get stopped out the second we got involved. And then Palantir is like, oh, don't worry, Dara. Breathe. So we're going to be taking some out at VWAP. We're going to take the next third out at that 36 level, the last piece out 36.26. These are areas that you can kind of see some interaction in the book, but also they were interesting to me on the chart, which is why I liked them in the first place. And I know where that bottom is on PLTR. You know what? Actually, this last peak water, I might save a piece for the dream after. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Either way, I think we have to switch up the amount because it's like maybe I'm being a bit aggressive. You know what? I think I am being a bit aggressive. So we're going to switch up how I'm doing this, actually. We're going to take out fifths instead of thirds. That's going to be what we do. We have our stop order set. So I'm cool. Let's take a fifth out at 43s. Then we're going to take another fifth out at 37s. And we're just going to, because I want to have more. If we flew Sharif, I want all the room for that floosh. Once we break below VWAP, that's where we're gonna have to move the stops to prior bar highs. As of right now, like I said, risking into 53s. Let's see how this goes, because I have big hopes for this trade. Not trying to smoke any opium, just trying to see what makes sense. Once I have all of my little orders set for my Palantired friend over here, then I'm gonna get that lesson ready. Happy I didn't short Tesla where I did, and I'm happy I waited till 229.60s, because we didn't even get there. We're already above 230s. What are other people looking at here in the market? Yeah, sorry guys, I know I'm speaking a little fast, but man, these markets are spicy, and I like to keep up with all the spice that they're giving me. So what else are people looking at here in DJT for a bounce, says Manuel Gordon. Yeah, I mean, DJT in the place to be. Let's see what DJT is giving you over here. Oh, wow, I didn't even realize it was below 16s. Okay, I drew lines on DJT one time because they're up. DJT, I think the bounce off VWAP is dope, and I think the bounce off VWAP is even doper, because look at that 1570 resistance support flip. That's a nice little flip there. I think if you could keep that bounce, then I think if you could reclaim the 1585, not a bad look at all. As of right now, I'm going to be continuing to sort out my Palantir beak wetters so we can get that lesson ready, drink some water, and then we are going to give you guys hopefully a very exciting lesson of the day. And I want to shout out Sharif once again for preparing these. I see, though, your small cap gapper friends are still doing their thing over here.
Yeah. We are still holding APLT at 70s, back into VVOS to defend 5. May not be a good idea. I saw a bottoming tail candle at the level, so we're going to give this one to the low of the prior candle, which is 83. So packing my patience on this one. Let's see if we can bounce back up. What's going on over there, Katina Man? The Katina Man is short the futures. I think I like that with you, brother, because I was actually looking at doing that as well. I'm going to go in there with you, Katina Man. I was actually looking at that. ARM was tanking. I was looking at weakness on some of these names. NVIDIA coming back down. You possible double top on Apple. Amazon got into 186, high 80s, which is the closing print, rejected a little bit. Meta as well came back down off the volume weighted average price. So we're going to pack our patience, see if we can get some prints with the Katina Man on this. I do love that read, though. I was kind of thinking the same thing, Katina Man. Head down over here. So we're going to wait for a nicer move down before we wet said beak. Well, we're going to hang out over here, and that's the look. So we're going to pack our patience there. Let's see what else is going on. VVOS still holding at 5-ish generally. What's APLT? APLT is doing its thing at 70s. That's fine there. Going to pack our patience with that. Volume weighted average price on the NQ December contract, is at 19,680. We're at 8.6 right now, multiple topping tail candles. I figured we'd mean revert a little bit over here. Hopefully the reversion isn't mean. Shout out to the OB, he is the one, Kenob. And the whole point is to basically just zig and zag until the FOMC meeting comes out, and then we decide whether, or we find out, I should say, whether we get that 50 bips or whether we get that 25 bips. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on right now. Looks like Apple getting some support, but hopefully not too much to keep these markets up. What are you looking at, Adair?
Yeah, I'm just I just adjusted my stop here in PLTR. We already took a beak wetter. We're now going to move the stop to just below break even at 36.49. It's going to be prior bar high. I'm aware the prior bar high is definitely going to change as I do the lesson because it's on the 5-minute, but I'm comfortable with this level. Going to take out a nice little chunk here at 36s. Going to take a big old chunk at 26s. And then I don't know what that face was. And then we're going to save a piece for the dream because I want some move this breaks down. Like I said, largest position I've ever taken. But man, do I feel good about it. I watch the stock enough that I'm ready to see if this moves. If it doesn't move, I've managed it appropriately. So yeah, good times. You know what also are good times, Sharif? Double tops and double bottoms. So let's talk about those. Shout out to our Trade the Pool friend in his red shirt. So let's talk about double tops and double bottoms, which is this is going to be a pretty cool reversal chart pattern, which is what we're talking about this whole week, as we know. So what is a double top or a double bottom? These are going to be classic reversal patterns that signal a change in the trend direction. So a double top is going to be indicative of a market shift from bullish to bearish, but then a double bottom is going to signal a reversal from bearish to bullish. Key features for a double top are going to be two peaks of a similar height that are separated by a moderate trough. So what do you think the double bottom is going to be then? If you guessed, hey, basically the opposite of that, you are correct. So a double bottom is going to be when you have two troughs with a similar depth, which are separated by a moderate peak. I'll see a day trader cut. I'm not going to add to the Palantir position as of right now because I'm just going to be in the lesson. But yeah, definitely sizing up in terms of like I feel good about the trade. I can manage it. So I took more size with it. That's for sure. In terms of the double top though here, I just wanted to address that question. So this is one example of double top. You got your first top, you got your second top. And I like this example too, Sharif, because they're not perfect. Like both of these are going to kind of be on wick bases. But the point is you have that general vicinity, right? Now look at this bottom. Look at this support, this neckline here. Once the bow breaks, the pattern will fall. So you have that break below, and then you fall quadrunc a little bit to the downside. So what about the double top formation? The double top pattern is formed when you've got the price rising to a resistance level, declining, and then rising again. But rising again to test the same resistance level, but then it's unable to break through. And this pattern often forms after that uptrend. So you see an exhaustion in buying strength. The neckline here is when you've got your horizontal support at the trough between the two peaks. So once you break below that support, that confirms the pattern and signals like a potential downtrend because we know that support and resistance can flip. So what I like about this pattern is there's really a lot of things that we already know to be true about the market kind of coming together. So let's see here. Here's an example of a neckline break. You've got your A and your C, which are going to be your two double tops. You have a general uptrend. B is part of that uptrend. Then though, this double top, we don't make a higher high. We just make a double top. If I was long this talk, I'd probably be like, here. And then you have that break below, pushing lower. So that is the look here on the double top. But what about the double bottom? It's going to be the mirror image, and it's what happens when you've got a downtrend, and then you have the price testing a support level not once but twice, and it does not break lower. So once you've got the price then breaking above the neckline, that will indicate the potential for a new uptrend. And so you have to think about volume. That we talked a lot about how volume is a huge contributory or confirmatory factor for these trades. So in a double top, you're usually going to have volume decrease as the second peak forms, and then it should be increasing when you've got the break below the neckline. Then for a double bottom, what you want to see is, of course, rising volume. And when I say, of course, because they're inverse, right? So a double bottom is when you're going to want to see rising volume on the breakout above the neckline, which would, of course, confirm the bullish reversal. So here's a double bottom, and you can see the volume push up here. So you've got your downtrend, you have a bottom, lower high, but then you have a flat bottom. So this could flat bottom break, but does it? No, because we break above that higher high, and then we do so with an influx of volume. The volume pushes higher. What's that downtrend? I don't know her. That is a nice move to the upside, so good look. How do you target your price, calculate your price target in this? Because we've talked a lot about these reversal patterns because they're based on price action we've already seen, how they can have price targets baked into them, right? So the height of the pattern here, measured from the peak in a double top or a trough in the double bottom to the neckline, that is what's going to provide the basis for your price target. And the measured move is basically going to be acting as a guideline for setting price targets. So it's not going to be rules, just a tool. For example, if you've got the distance between the peak and the neckline at $5, the expected move after the break is also going to be roughly $5 in the direction of the trend reversal. So it's going to be, should be about a similar move. And again, there's always going to be exceptions, but that's generally what you're going to be looking for. How do you calculate this PT? So here's your example. You got your first bottom and your second bottom. Between those bottoms are 170 pips. Then you have your neckline. So what you're going to be looking for is to take some profit here, 170 pips from that neckline break. So that's where you're going to be looking. Also, you want to wait for the retest. That's going to give you more confirmation, more confluence. You always want to have as much evidence as you can before you go to the courtroom and you face okay? That's all I got to say to that. Now, what about entry points? That's how you can, this is one way you can kind of practically apply these double tops and double bottoms. So traders are usually going to be entering a short position after confirmed break of the neckline in a double top pattern, and then a long after the neckline break in a double bottom. So the stop loss, here's one example. So you've got your first bottom, your second bottom, you're in a downtrend, you test it, oh, you can't. But double bottom, oh, can we? Oh, and look, we make a higher low. And I'm actually going to be doing a pushback for a literal Google slide. Shout out to this. Shout out to Straight for these lessons. I love this. Look at that support resistance flip here. And it's a higher low. Should be ready to go. And look what the pattern does.
Bang.
It does. And then it's a great look. And you would actually get way more than your bips there. So good look on that. What about stop loss placement? So you're going to be wanting to, and again, tools, not rules. You might want to place your stop loss above the second peak in a double top or below the second trough in a double bottom to help manage your risk. So here's one example. You've got your bottom, your neckline, and then your stop loss is going to be kind of this area just right above the second trough so that you know, hey, if we break below this, I don't know how low we can go. We might be limboing more to the downside, and I don't want that smoke. So that could be your approach there. What about volume confirmation? Because we talked a lot about how crucial a role volume can play in validating these patterns. What you're going to want to see is proof that you've got an increase in volume when the price breaks the neckline, because then you're going to have a more reliable signal. Other than that, you're just kind of like squinting. You're grasping at straws. You're counting shoestrings. I don't know what analogy. But without the volume confirmation, it might be a fake out breakout or a fake out breakdown, and it might not sustain. Here's your double bottom, right? You got your confirmation line. You might want to buy it or retest. Look at that. Because then if you do, you get a gap up and you get your volume. That is the type of secret sauce you want for your trades. So to conclude, double tops and double bottoms are going to be pretty reliable reversal patterns, and traders use them to anticipate shifts in trend direction. And understanding how to measure the potential price moves and stop losses here can give you a really good foundation for trading these in the wild. So that's that. Thank you very much, you guys, for listening to that. We actually got a super chat right after I started the lesson. Bacon with the £2 super chat. Micron, please. Yeah, for sure. I also just realized there was a super chat about PLCE earlier, and I think it came during Neil's lesson, so we didn't get to that. I apologize. Pluk, Children's Place. Oh, wow, Micron. Sorry, guys, I got excited about that. Micron reporting earnings next week, so keep an eye on that. It'll be next Wednesday after the bell. Look at the VWAP projection, Sharif. A little bit of support. Quaduk.
That's a big
Then we get a reversion. Then we get a reversion of the reversion.
Oh.
Shout out to our pal Obi. And we push even lower. So this is a really interesting look here, rejecting at VWAP. This is violent. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Micron's kind of been rangy, I know, for the last few. Yeah, okay. Not much to say here about Micron. I don't know if this is going to be a flat bottom. I know we were thinking this is going to be a double bottom. I'm wondering if it's actually a flat bottom. Either way, I would say if this is going to be bullish, I would like to see us close above 91, because that's clearly been a resistance level on the daily chart. Also, we had Jack CW asking how we'd handle PLCE with a 279 Canadian dollar super chat. Shout out to Canada, and shout out to you, Jack. I don't know if I'm the right person to ask for PLCE. I'll take a quick cursory look for you. Also, Palantir is chilling. We actually got two of the B-quitters out. PLCE, thank you. PLCE about 2 million shares of volume right now. Honestly, I probably wouldn't handle it right now. It's at its low of day, unless we can reclaim that $15.10 level, which was a bit of a level of resistance. That could be dope, but as of right now, to me, it looks a bit, as Sharif might say, anemic. One thing that Raider Trader said once on one of his appearances that really stuck with me is when there's so many opportunities in the market, you want to stick with the ones that are the most potent. And to me, PLCE a little bit weaker. That is just my opinion on that. Palantir, I'll talk about in a bit because I should be adjusting my stop losses in that. But how are you doing over here on your trade?
Good. I'm really happy with this futures trade over here. Took a bit of a bigger position on this one and was able to scalp out. I'm keeping my eye on this one reascending. I'm charting on the NQ December contract and I'm executing on the TQQs. So the level I'm looking at of the December contract, yes, is 19.7. Knowing that that's not a level that's, been respected. We got higher, obviously, multiple times on the day, but I don't want the sequence of candles that I'm looking at right now on the 5-minute chart to make a new high. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So we weasel this one in, and then have a look. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Can you guess what I'm going to say after this one?
Lower high.
Lower high, Adara, and we still have a lower high. However, we are at a critical level. Why? We got into the volume-weighted average price, right? So we could find some support here. Now, I've executed on the trade quite well. So far, I don't want this to be one of those ones where I give back. I'm not holding the majority of the position anymore. So I will pack my patience a little bit with this one, but I'm on the lookout for higher highs. I don't want to be part of that curling and rounding and then making of new highs. I want no smoke. I'm short. So that's the look there. VVOS, I saw somebody in the chat. I think he has, I don't know if this is Mandarin or what. I should be able to read this. It looks like it's Korean because I can't read it in the letters. And yes, I am studying Mandarin. So I couldn't tag you in the chat, but he's telling me to get out of VVOS. And I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I do like, however, how it's trading, Ram. And the thing about this one is it's doing a flip from resistance to support. Look at this $4.90, $5 area. We weasel up to $6. We come back down. For whatever reason, we're holding up here. Now we're moving into 516. I'm waiting at 533. 5 1/3. I'd like to wet my beak. We're moving up nice, showing 20s on the ask. Right now, 22s on the ask. All right, it's still the area where I printed last time, so I don't want to get it out here. I would have taken out the entire position last time if I wanted to get it out here. So I'm going to wait, and if I get stopped out, then I get stopped out. I'm in the money, and that's fine. So I'm waiting on this one over here. I'd like to see a 5 1/3 print. Let's put some respect on this one's name. It's up 84%. It had a nice little move. It could give back everything. I'm cognizant of that. I know they're around for a good time, not a long time, yada, 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 all the other stuff I say. But I want a 533 print, and if I have to get stopped out, I have to get stopped out. This one, I'm dang proud of, Ram. I told you I'd add at 750. I did it initially. I did it again. I took it out at 65, and then look at that out. This is the out I'm proud of. The top wick so far at 82s. ALPT has been good to me today. Not everything has, but we're going to continue to do the best we can, quite frankly, because is it impossible to do better than you can? I think it is.
I think so.
Right?
I think it would.
Because if it was possible, then it wouldn't be the best you can do. Be the best you can do right now. Right?
Sure.
Here we go with 33s. Now we're making higher highs here on VVOS, but there is selling at the $0.25. Let's see if we can squeeze up into 33, man. I've been waiting for a long time. What's a few more minutes? We obviously have the FOMC dang decision today, 2 o'clock. One of the most widely anticipated decisions in a long time. We haven't raised, or we haven't cut rates, guys, in over 4 years. And no one really seems to know exactly what we're going to do today. Is it going to be 25 bips? Is it going to be 50? I wonder what the betting markets are saying, because, you know, when money's on the line, when you put your money where your mouth is, seems to make a little bit of a difference. Obviously, we know what the FOMC rate tool says. It was 65% up until yesterday, I believe, that we would get that 50 basis points cuts. Lots of market commentary about spooking of the markets, if that's the case. Adara was talking about that earlier, with certain analysts saying, you know, it's just hype and it's story making, yada, yada, yada. We shall see. We're not going to have to wait for that long, and you guys are going to get it here live in living color. The big kahunas are going to be coming on a little bit early today to take you guys through that, so we're very excited. I mean, this is what we do this for, right? We show up on the days where there's not that much volume, so that when the days with volume come, Adara, we're prepared for it, and that's what today is like. We got up to 5 1/4 again here on VVOS, and it's definitely encountering selling at the $0.25. Watch when 25 reappears on the ask side of the level 2. It is not that big of size that's displaying on the gateways yet. We're being met with a wall of selling. So I'm suspecting that there's a bit of an iceberg order hanging in and around there. Let's see what the future's doing. So we got stopped out of that, or did we? Oh, no, we didn't. No, we had a little bit left anyway. Right now, the future is on the way back up. Let's have a look at what the future's going to do over here. That's what happens when you don't put a stop in place. Silly me. New high day right now, or no, new local high, I should say, not high day. The high day was printed on the IB high right at 9:30, 19,736. We are 19,720. What a move up on the future. Good strength in this market, Adara, for the afternoon.
Yeah, I made this up because I just missed this Microsoft long that I really wanted. Failed to get filled here by a hair. Initially, the plan was to go 432.50s, add at 432.75s, because like I said, I like that breakout. And then we were going to push higher. Well, then I was like, okay, I'm not going to get my 432.50s. Fine. Get everything in at 432.75. Risk it a little bit more. 432.25s. A, that's another level you like. And B, you know if this pops, it will pop. You know what it does, Sharif?
What?
It pops, but not with me. So that's a little unfortunate. The other way I might play this, if we hold 433, I'll go long 43. I'll risk it into 75s. Again, still a level I like. I want to watch what the book does at this 433 level. Okay, there's some chop. There's some churn. There's some zigging. There is some zagging. This is bullish. Yes, there is. Happy to tell you. So we are going to go long. 430, you know what? It's probably still more realistic to wait at 433.76, so I'm still going to do that. That's what we're going to do. We got filled? Okay, I don't know how I got filled there, but I did. I probably had a typo. Knowing me, there was likely a typo. So it's all good there. Filled at 94s. We're going to risk that into, we'll do 60s. We'll give this a little bit wiggle room.
Wiggle.
So that is.
Do we take over?
No, it's okay. It's all good. I'm just trying to set my little order. So we're going to do 66s for.
Sounds like food.
Ooh. So that is the order. Also, yeah. Stop loss typo is what messed me up here for this Tesla short. Obviously, Tesla short was a bad idea. So I got short Tesla, whatever. Didn't work out. Then I shorted it again, because the reason it didn't work out the first time is because I made a mistake with my stop loss. I meant to type 230, 70, 230, like 05s or whatever. I actually typed 220 05s. So big L on my part. And then I got basically like flat, whatever, stopped out. I was like, eh. So then what do? I get short again. I don't know. Like, I still thought it was a short at that point. I had a worse entry point, though, in the second trade than I did in the first. It was messy. It was not the 5. Alas, it did not work out. I can't believe we only have 10 minutes left, Sharif, on this show until the FOMC meeting. That'll be crazy. I think, too, like what you were saying about the FOMC decision, I have a feeling it's going to be 25. I've read a lot of market commentary suggesting that the 50 is at best people getting too excited, or at worst, like just market noise. So we'll kind of see what occurs there. And when I say people, I mean analysts like from Wells Fargo. I mean former Fed president there, Jim Bullard. So we're going to have to wait and see what we get from the FOMC. Yeah, JB. Not Justin Bieber. But let's see what happens there from the Fed, because I think that could be an interesting look. Also, Microsoft, I don't know how I feel about this. Again, I wish my entry point had been better. I feeling we might get shut down here. Like I said, I'm risking to 66s. But I liked the trade, so I was willing to get involved and risk a little bit. I want to get out some here at 17s. That doesn't really make sense from a risk-reward perspective. We'll see. I should have planned this trade a little bit better. But again, I thought I had a beak water set at 70, or not a beak water, a dip buy set at 432, 75s. The last I had not, but the book still is bullish, which is why I'm still in this. Let's see what occurs on Microsoft. 10 minutes left, Sharif. What are you?
Wow.
How are your Qs doing?
So I added at 510 again over here. Qs were like 2 pennies out of the money, but I'm taking a smaller position here. I added again at 5, rocketed up 515, took it out again. Then it broke my level, and I was like, nope, this is it. We only had a little bit left. So this has been a good trade here on VVOS. I'm happy with how I traded this subsequent to a couple of stops over here, but a good look so far. Now, this is the one that is in a little bit of trouble. I'm trying to take the future short at the highs. Call me Obi, call me what you want, mean reversion, this, that. I'm trying to get this one to come. Well, I'm not trying to get it. I'm trying to see if this one wants to mean revert a little bit. At 67s, we got awfully close into the high of the day. That's 19,736 on the NQ December contract. We didn't get quite that high this time. So I was like, look, this is interesting. I could take it here for possible short. For a quick mean reversion trade. So we'll see if the the futures contract wants to mean revert a little bit in front of the Fed rate decision slated to come out in exactly 24 minutes. We're getting some selling here on the future. I would like to wet my beak in and around 19.7. We already have the profit taker hanging out on the screen. You can see that depicted there with the baby blue line and that circle, sky blue or baby blue, whatever. That line we'd like to get printed in and around there. We're awfully close as the market comes a little bit to the downside, but just like it's been doing all day, it's been making me wait for the print. So we're going to pack our patience. Hopefully we can get a little print there and de-risk on a bit of a mean reversion trade. It's a counter-trend trade, but we shall see what we get there. Very happy with my out here on VVOS. I think this is the better trade to get stopped out there for a 10 penny loss on a very small amount. Than actually having to hold this in. I didn't like the retest of that 490. We were putting in higher highs and higher lows, albeit only 2 connections over here, Ram, where we put in a low over here and another low, then a high, another high. And the fact that it broke down there and ruined that higher low, higher high trade, I wanted nothing to do with it. Oh, baby, look at that futures print, Adara. Bang! We just took that one down. Nice, man. That was like 40 pennies. Super dang quick. I had a feeling that this was going to reject off that level. Took the short. Pamp it. I'm spending the money for this, man.
Please do.
That was a really, really good trade by my part there, and I never really say that about any of my trades because they're usually not that good. But the point of the matter is we had a high a day. I had a bias because I didn't think we would make a new high. Prior to FOMC, I punched short, happy with this trade. But again, I'm always upset because I didn't have enough size, and that's the way it is. So keeping my, packing my patience right now to see exactly what we do. I literally have bottom wick on this one so far. We'll see if it can print a lower wick.
Yeah, so I just got a Palantir long and then immediately got stopped at a Palantir long because then we had that flush in the market. But Palantir held up really well, so I'm getting back in the trade. Actually, better entry point, 36.41 is risking to 36.36. I actually think this is a realistic area based on what I've seen in the book. I know, and like I said, I think I'm still trying to strike that fine point between trading a stock, like, you know, you don't want to trade too many stocks, but also like getting too attached to tickers. I don't know. Microsoft, though, this long, we did get, like, you know, understandably stopped out if we had that push down in the market. If we reject 432.25, I'll cancel my Palantir order and I'll get into Microsoft, honestly, because 432.25, that was the level that started it all for me on Microsoft today. I like this level. This book is looking super bearish to me. You know what? Okay, well, we already got filled in Palantir. I was like, okay, I don't know here because I'm feeling a little bit indecisive there. Shout out to, oh my God, Justin Bieber. She's indecisive. She can't decide. She keeps on looking. Yeah, eeny, my name. That's what I feel like I'm doing with these stickers over here. But yeah, still going to stay into Palantir. So Ramin, I'm guessing, is working the button because she knew that song. Shout out to Ramin there. But yeah, we're going to stay in this Palantir for now. That being said, Microsoft also getting a little bit of a spike or soft to the downside. Okay, you know what? I do like this rejection. If I can even get like the smallest amount of shares here, Sharif.
Yes, I do.
I do want the smoke.
I know.
And I'm willing to risk it into 50s. You know what? Okay, we're doing it. We're risking this into 249s because 432.49s, and I still believe this is a realistic area. I know, like, whatever, you could be like, oh, this kind of random risk. I've been watching the book on Microsoft all day. I know what I like to see in it. Same with PLTR. These are both trades that, to me, make sense. If Microsoft reclaims 432.25, that will still be a little bit bullish to me, and that might be a bit dicey. But, I mean, PLTR, I'm willing to, like, if I don't get stopped out, I'm willing to just let this thing breathe until the end of the show. That being said, I think the 55 area is really realistic, so we're going to take out half there. No, we'll take even more than half. We'll take out a cool 60% there if we get to 55, so I think that's a realistic level. Also, why do I like Palantir as a long, even though we're below VWAP? I've generally seen some higher lows on it, which is why I liked it as a long. Also, the fact that we had that floosh in the market, Palantir could not get below its 36.40, which would mean a lower low. Could not make a lower low. Palantir is a go-to-go. I don't know why I said it like that, but I liked it. So let's see what you do here on MSFT for the record. MSFT, I can't add because Palantir, you know,
Is
buying
it being
power.
a misfit?
It's being, I like that. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily being a misfit. Kind of looks like it was Meg Seven Cousins. But right now, I mean, I don't want it. I'd like it to not be a misfit in terms of how it fits with my strategy, Sharif.
I like it.
But yeah, 4 minutes left. Oh my gosh, how you doing?
Can I talk about the one that Juan Alejandro Castillo, thank you very much, my man, for pointing this out. You know that this one was likely not on my radar owing to its less than dollar value, despite the fact, obviously, that I've moved up my filter up to 85 pennies. This one knocked on the door, I'm tired, of $1, and the door got shut. Exactly $1 to the T. MAXN rejected. It's still well above moving averages, and VWAP give this one possibly another shot at $1. But where do we get in? Well, it's hanging out at 97s, or sorry, this isn't $1, guys. This is 10 cents. This is how tired and sick I am today. It's 10 cents. That's why I had no idea about this one, because I was like, well, why didn't it show up on my scanner, right? I have 85 pennies. Yeah, it was 8 pennies, bro, not 85 pennies. I think, Neil, was this the one that you were saying that I would never look at, MAXN? That wasn't the one, was it? It was the one, because he's like, Sharif won't trade this. Yeah, I don't usually trade these, but I like this level one. I like it 9.5 pennies there, 9.4 pennies. Look at the umpteen amount of topping till rejections. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get the break on the fifth. 5 when we get the we get the break on the fifth. So that's interesting right there. If it can come back down into this level, I'd buy. First, I'd be looking at $9 9 cents and a half right there, 954. Why? Because the 10 exponential on the 5 is there. I want to see if it holds up there. That's number one. Number two, I'm all eyes and ears and every other sensory organ in my body right at that 940 because of the 5 rejections that we put in there initially. We've said this before in trend analysis, in support and resistance. The more times a level gets touched, both in price action and in duration, the more important it is. Obviously, that rule is fractal. So if you're charting on the weekly, it holds true. But if you're also charting intraday and you've had multiple bounces or rejections off that level fractally, yes, it is an important level intraday. So that's what I would say to you. Anything around right here, I'd hit the buy button. You want to front run it, maybe with a bit of a lower stop below the range. Have at it if you're a more risk prone trader. Do that. Okay. I don't know what my cousin's sending me over here. Shout out to my cousin. Yusuf. So that is the look there, Adara. Another person was asking me about APLT Ram, and he wanted to know whether I get back in at 7.5 because we gotten in a couple of times. And I asked the person, I'm like, is third time actually a charm? I don't know. I don't think it would be for me, but guess what? It is for them. Because if you punched in, and I think they did, because he told me it's the third time for me. He punched in at 7.5. Look where we are. We're already weaseling away off that to that 7 2/3 again. So I want to shout you out. You had the cojones to enter it at 7 again, at 7.5 for the third time. Shout out to you. I hope you print, and I hope it weasels up higher than 8. Because clearly it's been having a whole lot of resistance at 8, at least intraday. APLT has been holding the volume weighted average price all afternoon, but I got to tell you, it was a bit of a sleeper, Ram, and the reason is because it wasn't really making any new highs. Consecutively lower highs with respect for the volume weighted average price. I have a trade that I like to call the volume weighted average price hold, a VWAP hold high of day break. If this holds VWAP, keep your eye out for that more liquid time of the day for this one to break around 840, 850. It sometimes happens, sometimes it doesn't. We'll never know. We have a minute left. Any final thoughts, Adara?
Yeah, I have stops in both these trades, so I'm actually going to hold these trades, which I'm shocked to say. Microsoft, I have a feeling we're going to get stopped out post-haste. So MSFT, if we break above 432.50, we're out. Palantir is still long, but either way, we're going to find out what the big kahunas are doing and what Papa Powell's doing. See you guys tomorrow. Same bad time. Same bad channel.
See ya.
Hey guys, 15 minutes to go. Welcome in. We will get the main event everyone's been waiting for in anticipation.